smoking and smelling of burnt protein. But she didn't notice, as her face was burned and stung painfully. The scene was noisy, with the son of the paralyzed old lady angrily shouting at the firefighters, demanding to know why they didn't save his mother. "Why didn't you save my mother? She has suffered so much and hasn't enjoyed life yet. She burned to death, and aren't you firefighters supposed to serve the people? Why didn't you save her? Give me back my mother." "Oh, my mother, you died so tragically. I am an unfilial son. You didn't even leave a complete corpse. My dear mother, your life was so hard." The man, like a performer, sat on the ground, beating his chest and wailing, blaming the firefighters for not doing their duty and claiming they killed his poor mother. "I'm sorry." The firefighters felt guilty. The joy of saving others was overshadowed by their regret for not saving the old lady. They had let down the trust of the people. "It's your fault. You killed my mother. You owe me her life." The man became even more aggressive, jumping up and grabbing a young firefighter's shirt, ready to hit him. The young firefighter stood still, closing his eyes and bracing for the blow. Tang Nian's expression darkened as she rushed over, grabbing the young firefighter by the collar and pulling him aside, glaring at him and scolding, "Can't you dodge?" After scolding the foolish firefighter, Tang Nian pushed the arrogant, filial son away with little effort, causing him to fall to the ground. "If you're so filial, why didn't you save your mother? You can criticize others but can't save anyone? Putting out fires is the firefighter's job. They serve the people. What is your relationship with him? Why are you defending him?" The man was very self-righteous, pointing at the young firefighter with a suggestive tone, almost implying that Tang Nian had an improper relationship with him. The young firefighter frowned, wanting to defend Tang Nian. He could handle some blame, but he couldn't let an innocent girl be dragged into this. Besides, she had just saved so many people. She was a good person. The onlookers were also furious, especially the relatives of the rescued children, who gathered around, ready to teach this filial son a lesson. But Tang Nian was quicker, her cold voice cutting through the noise as she scolded, "Your mother is unfortunate for giving birth to such an ungrateful son like you. While your mother lies paralyzed, you are out here living it up. When the fire broke out, you watched her burn without lifting a finger, cold-hearted and indifferent. How dare you blame the firefighters? The firefighter's job is to put out fires, not to save your mother. If your eyesight is poor, open your eyes and see who saved so many people. You were outside making noise while the firefighters risked their lives. They didn't get any praise, and now have to endure your slander. Are you even human? Do you have any conscience left? How can you still stand here and breathe?" Tang Nian unleashed a barrage of scolding without pausing for breath. She had no morals to speak of. No one could use morality to control her, nor could they stand on a high ground to criticize her. Firefighters were not obligated to save anyone. Their lives were precious too. In this major fire, only the old lady had died, while all the children in the building were saved. Of course, all lives are valuable, but to Tang Nian, she believed that the lives of children were more precious. Even if she had to do it all over again, she would still choose to save the children, unless that old lady was someone dear to her. Tang Nian scolded the man thoroughly, her words sharp and powerful, leaving him without a chance to retort. The man, his face pale with anger, finally muttered anyway, "You all killed my mother. She could have been saved, and you owe me for my loss." The surrounding angry crowd was infuriated by the man's shamelessness, each one stepping forward to scold him. You should be called he lack of virtue. Now you realize your mother had it tough? Where was your filial piety when she was alive? Granny he often didn't even have hot water to drink. If it weren't for our neighbors helping her, she would have starved or died of thirst long ago. He is a heartless scoundrel. Granny he couldn't even get a warm meal, and no one cared for her. Her backside and back were rotting. It was the street officials who had to step in and order he lack of virtue and his wife to clean her up once a month, or they wouldn't be allowed to live here. You may not know, but this house belonged to Granny he. Lack of virtue promised to take care of her, and only then did the other siblings agree to let them move in. But once they moved in, they didn't care for her at all. What a heartless act. Granny he suffered while alive, and now her death is a relief. How dare he lack of virtue blame the firefighters? Doesn't he fear retribution? The crowd, all residents of the building, knew Hyun's situation well and were fully aware of his character. One by one, they exposed his shameful deeds, leaving him with nothing to hide. Filled with shame and anger, he had shouted, "What does my family's business have to do with you? Are you just bored? My mother is doing fine and you know nothing." Hyun, just wait. Tonight, Granny he will come to find you. Ask your mother if she is really doing well. Suddenly, someone said this, and right after, a cold wind blew, sending chills down everyone's spines and dropping the temperature several degrees. While others were okay, he had reacted the most, shivering and instinctively looking at his mother, lying on the ground. Granny he had died from smoke inhalation, her face covered in soot, her eyes wide open. He had even thought he saw her eyes blink, as if she was staring at him. "Mom, I didn't cause this. Don't come after me." He had screamed in fear, breaking out in a cold sweat in the middle of winter. But he quickly calmed down, realizing his mother was dead. It was just an illusion. "I'm not arguing with you. My mother can't have died for nothing. You have to pay." He had wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and stated his purpose. He was actually pleased that his mother was gone. He finally didn't have to care for her anymore. The house would be his, and he could live freely without her. If he could get some money from her death, that would be even better. He insisted on compensation, since only his mother had died in the building. "The police are here. They should arrest this scoundrel who falsely accused the firefighters and mistreated his own mother." Someone spotted the police car and shouted, exciting the crowd to demand that the police take Hyun away. "Why should I be arrested? My mother was killed by them. I'm the victim's family." He had panicked, yelling, but the crowd drowned him out and the police couldn't hear him. They weren't there for him, anyway. A woman with a phone walked ahead, scanning the area and finally focused on the soot-covered Zuin-Chunrong. She squinted for a long time, murmuring, "Doesn't look like." "Kind of looks like." "Yes, that's him." She was sure because she saw Zhang Lui next to Zuin-Chunrong. "Police, it's him. This madman called me and said he was going to set fire on Green Forest Road." "Oh no, did he succeed?" The woman pointed at Zuin-Chunrong, and upon seeing the charred scene, her face turned pale. The crowd was confused. What was happening? Zhang Lui anxiously called out, "Police. He didn't start the fire. We called to report it, but they didn't believe us and thought we were joking. That's why my boyfriend made that call. He really didn't start the fire." Zuin-Chunrong softly reassured her, "It's okay, the police will figure it out. Don't be afraid." He wasn't worried at all. In fact, he was quite happy. After all, he was a hero for putting out the fire. Surely, he would get a banner for that, right? Zuin-Chunrong didn't deny his selfish motives. He wasn't that selfless. Whether it was making a threatening call or rushing into the fire, he had his own reasons. He hoped the honor of saving lives would make his future a little easier. There was a precedent. A young man from the neighboring commune, who was a landlord's son, had saved property from a fire and was injured. After he recovered, he was recommended to a workers' university and became a proud student. Zuin-Chunrong didn't expect to go to university, especially since the recommendation system had been cancelled. He just wanted to live a better life in the village, not be targeted, and be with the girl he liked. He even dreamed of getting a temporary job at a state-owned factory. He would work hard and make sure Zhang Lui never had to suffer. Zuin-Chunrong approached the police calmly and explained what had happened, even suggesting they check with the fire department about the call. But the fire department had initially refused to believe it. "Yes, we did receive a call about a fire on Green Forest Road, saying there would be a big fire in 10 minutes and to send all fire trucks." The operator thought it was a prank and scolded him. The fire department confirmed Zuin-Chunrong's account and even shook his hand, saying, "Comrade, we're sorry. We were too subjective and almost caused a disaster. You did a great job. It wasn't my credit, It was Comrade Tang Nian who told me to call. She noticed the wind was picking up and that the fire would spread to the neighboring building. She told us to call, while she went to save people. All the credit goes to her. Zhuan Chunrong didn't take the credit for himself. Although he had selfish motives, he wasn't a thief. He believed in giving credit where it was due. There was no need to lie about it. That's right. It was all Nian who figured it out. We were at the TV station when my uncle went to cover the fire. Nian looked at the sky and said the wind would pick up, then told us to call, while she went to save people. Zhang Lui added, providing more details. She pointed at Zhuan Chunrong, saying, "My boyfriend was very brave. He rushed into the fire and saved 2 people, almost losing his life." With Zhang Lui's tears and swollen eyes, no one doubted her words. "Police, this young man is definitely not a bad person. He rushed into the fire to save people. How could such a good person be a criminal?" It was because that building caught fire. It was almost put out, but suddenly a strong wind came, and the fire flared up again. If it weren't for the firefighters and these brave comrades, we would have been in trouble. A woman with singed hair and eyebrows wrapped in a blanket approached, gesturing as she spoke, vividly describing the scene. Afterward, she bowed to the firefighters, Zhuan Chunrong, Tang Nian, and Zhang Lui's uncle, repeatedly thanking them. Other parents of the rescued children also came over with their kids, wanting to bow in gratitude, but they were stopped. With everyone's testimonies, Zhuan Chunrong's suspicion was quickly cleared. However, the police still had a question for Tang Nian. "How did you know the wind would pick up?" The Weather Bureau reported it would be clear today with no wind. When has the Weather Bureau ever been accurate? Tang Nian replied bluntly, showing no respect for the Weather Bureau. The crowd nodded in agreement, saying, "A few days ago, they said it would rain, but the sun was shining. Another time, they said it would be sunny, and I had my blankets out to dry, only for them to get soaked. You're just not thinking straight. Learn from me. When the Weather Bureau says it will rain, I dry my blankets. When they say it will be sunny, I definitely don't dry them. Just do the opposite." "That's a good idea. From now on, I'll do the opposite of what the Weather Bureau says." Everyone chimed in, lightening the mood. The police were not satisfied with Tang Nian's answer. Although the Weather Bureau was often wrong, it didn't necessarily relate to predicting strong winds. Tang Nian knew her answer lacked strong evidence, so she said, "Tomorrow it will hail." The police officer instinctively looked up at the sky. The wind had stopped, the sun was still shining, and the temperature was not too low. Logically, tomorrow should be another sunny day. The Meteorological Bureau didn't say anything about hail. On the contrary, if they didn't say there would be hail, it means there will be. The voices of the crowd grew louder. They had an inexplicable trust in Tang Nian without a hint of doubt. The police officer was half convinced and decided to wait until tomorrow to see. If it really hailed, it would prove that this beautiful girl could predict the weather, leaving no room for suspicion. If it doesn't hail tomorrow, we still need to ask Comrade Tang to cooperate with our work. The police officer was very polite. They knew that Tang Nian was probably not a bad person, but everything about this situation seemed suspicious. If she could prove her ability to predict the weather, all doubts would be cleared. "Remember to bring an umbrella to work tomorrow." Tang Nian showed a mysterious smile and kindly reminded them. She was completely confident that it would definitely hail tomorrow. To be precise, during the morning work hours, hail would fall for nearly an hour, catching many people unprepared and hitting them on the head and face. Although hail in the south is not large, it can still be the size of a soybean and hurt when it hits the face. She knew this so clearly because she heard from a local on Green Forest Road that the day after the fire, a sudden hailstorm occurred, just as unexpectedly as the strong wind. They say it's because the king of hell is collecting souls, which is why it's so eerie. That local said so. It was said that the 20-some people who died in the fire had reached the end of their lives, which is why the strong wind suddenly came and burned them. The hail was seen as heaven's tears for the unfortunate. The police and firefighters left. "We will report your heroic deeds to the leaders." Before leaving, both the police and firefighters stated they would inform their superiors about Tang Nian and her friend's bravery. The street officials on Green Forest Road also promised to report to higher authorities. The television station was on site, gathering first-hand information. That evening, the provincial news broadcast reported on the heroic deeds of Tang Nian and her friends saving the fire. Moreover, the segment was quite lengthy, with clear footage, including close-ups of Tang Nian, Xian Chunrong, and the brave firefighters. That night, after Tang Nian and her friends went to the hospital for treatment, they were arranged to rest in a hotel. Even the provincial leaders heard about their heroic deeds and sent officials to express their gratitude. Xian Chunrong and Zhang Lili were deeply moved. If I encounter the same situation again, I would still choose to save people. Xian Chunrong said this to the provincial leaders, with reporters present. Tang Nian, however, was not in the mood for an interview. She was mourning her lost hair and eyebrows. When she returned to the hotel to take a shower, she realized that her once beautiful, shiny hair was completely burned off, leaving her with hair worse than dry grass. The burns on her face were not a big deal. They would heal in a few days. But hair doesn't grow back in just a day or two. With the new year approaching, would she have to celebrate with a head full of yellow hair? Heartbroken, Tang Nian glared at her reflection in the mirror. Listening to Xian Chunrong's passionate and righteous responses outside, she gritted her teeth and muttered, "If there's a next time, I wouldn't go even for 1,000,000. The more she looked at her singed hair in the mirror, the more displeased she became. In a fit of anger, she grabbed scissors and cut off the burnt hair. Her skills were lacking, and she ended up with a messy haircut that looked worse than if a dog had chewed it. She was relying on her looks to hold up, otherwise, she wouldn't want to be seen by anyone. Nian, the reporters want to interview you. Are you ready? Zhang Lui called softly from outside the bathroom. Xian Chunrong had finished his interview, and it was Tang Nian's turn. I'm coming. Tang Nian stepped out, sporting a non-mainstream hairstyle. Zhang Lui was momentarily stunned, then widened her eyes, covering her mouth, barely holding back laughter. This hairstyle looks great, really. Zhang Lui struggled to hold back her laughter and forced out a compliment. Nian saved so many people. Even if she had a bald head, she had to say it looked good to avoid hurting her feelings. How insincere. Tang Nian rolled her eyes, unappreciative of the compliment. Earlier, in the space, Bai Sui and Fu Bao had already mocked her. She would no longer believe such nonsense. Ha ha ha. Zhang Lui finally couldn't hold it in any longer and burst into laughter. Tang Nian huffed and went to do the interview. The reporter also nearly laughed, managing to ask a few questions, similar to those asked to Xian Chunrong. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely still save people. There's nothing to think about. In that situation, there was no time to think too much. I only had one thought in my mind: to save people. Tang Nian answered perfectly. She knew how to give official responses. The reporter was very satisfied with her and Xian Chunrong's answers, writing them down enthusiastically and taking their photos, planning to work late to report it the next day. That night, after watching the Central News broadcast and then the provincial news, there weren't many programs on, just news broadcasts, model operas, or various old movies. Tang Village, the Tang family's hall, was packed with people. It was cold in winter, and they couldn't bear to watch TV outside, so they squeezed into the hall, each holding a fire pot, warming themselves while watching TV and gossiping, making it livelier than watching a movie. Second aunt, when did Nian say the TV station would come to interview? Someone asked. Why are you in such a hurry? Nian said they would come, so they will definitely come. When has she ever gone back on her word? Old Lady Tang replied loudly. I just want to know when they will come so I can prepare. I've made new clothes and am just waiting for the TV station to arrive. I made new clothes too. Last time when the foreigners came, I didn't wear new clothes. I can't miss this chance. She'll keep it down. I can't hear the news. Don't make noise. Let's listen to the results of the fire rescue. It's terrifying. At that moment, The news on TV was showing the fire on Green Forest Road, with flames shooting high and thick smoke rolling. Even through the screen, they could feel the intensity of the fire, making everyone anxious, with some reciting Amitabha. May the Buddha bless. Please let there be no casualties. Oh no, that child was thrown out. Oh no, they caught him. Thank you, Buddha. They caught him again. Thank heavens, Amitabha. Everyone's hearts tightened as they watched. When they saw the child being rescued, they were happy but also worried for the firefighters. Thank heavens, the fire is out, and the child is safe. That paralyzed old lady is also unfortunate. Her children are not around, sigh. There's nothing to be done. There are so many people. It's impossible to save everyone. But soon, everyone fell silent, staring at the TV because they recognized someone. The girl without eyebrows, with burnt hair and a black face, was none other than the Nian Nian they had just mentioned. They recognized Nian Nian, who had grown up before their eyes, even with her hair and eyebrows burned off. Isn't that Nian girl? Oh my, why is she putting out a fire? Her hair is all burned off. This girl really has guts. Aunt, you need to talk to her when she gets back. She's acting so recklessly. What a beautiful girl, and now she has no hair or eyebrows. What if her face gets burned? Aunt, you can't let her off easily this time. She needs a good spanking. The people watching TV in the room were mostly older folks, relatives of Tang Nian Nian. They were openly scolding her for her actions in the provincial city and insisted that Grandma Tang must give her a serious lesson to make her remember. This reckless girl, when she comes back, I'll make sure she gets punished. Grandma Tang gritted her teeth in anger, wishing she could fly to the provincial city. She couldn't help but worry about what condition Nian Nian was in. What if her face was burned? If she doesn't get punished for 3 days, she'll get too bold. When she comes back, I'll make sure to teach her a lesson. Jianshu, go to the provincial city tomorrow and bring Nian Nian back. Grandma Tang lost interest in watching TV and rushed to the captain's house, asking Tang Jianshu to go to the provincial city and fetch her. The captain hadn't seen the news and didn't know what happened, so Grandma Tang angrily explained. This girl is getting bolder. Aunt, you can't spoil her this time. She needs to be punished. It's outrageous that she went to save people from a fire. The captain shared Grandma Tang's feelings, thinking that Tang Nian Nian was too reckless. In such situations, she should prioritize her own safety. My uncle is in the provincial city. I'll call him to check on Nian Nian. Tang Jianshu said. Hurry up. Tang Jianshu went to make the call. Tang Mantong happened to be in the provincial city for business. With the new year approaching, socks and hairpins were in high demand, and he had been traveling for work. Nian Nian was at Green Forest Road putting out a fire? That girl, I'll go find her tomorrow. Tang Mantong had heard about the fire, but didn't know his niece was at the scene. Luckily, she was fine, just a few hairs burned. Mantong, take that girl to the hospital to check her face and get some good medicine. We can't let her have scars. Grandma Tang changed her mind. The hospital in the provincial city was better than the counties. She wanted her granddaughter to get proper treatment for her face. Tang Nian Nian was unaware that her heroic act had spread throughout the community and didn't know that a meal of stir-fried bamboo shoots and meat awaited her at home. But she would find out the next day when Tang Mantong came to see her. Tang Mantong carefully examined her face for a long time and, seeing only a few minor burns that were already scabbing, finally felt relieved and scolded her. Just wait until you get home. Your grandma said she's going to spank you. I know. Tang Nian Nian wasn't scared. Grandma had been saying that since she could remember, but she never really spanked her. Grandma was tough on the outside, but softer on the inside. Tang Mantong stood up, ready to leave. He had a lot to do. I'm leaving. For the next few days, avoid eggplants and soy sauce, and don't eat fish or seafood to prevent scars. Tang Mantong reminded her. Got it, hurry and go. Tang Nian Nian urged him to leave, finding his nagging annoying. With her protective charm, she wouldn't get scars even if she ate goose every day. Ungrateful. Tang Mantong flicked her forehead and rolled his eyes before opening the door, bumping into Zhang Lui and Xian Chunrong, who had just returned from breakfast. Tang Mantong smiled at them and was about to leave when he turned back, staring intently at Xian Chunrong for a long time before uncertainly asking, "Are you Xian Chunrong?" "Yes. May I ask who you are?" Xian Chunrong nodded, not recognizing Tang Mantong. "Is this girl your girlfriend?" Tang Mantong's expression darkened, and his fists clenched. Tang Hongxing was still causing trouble at home, and this guy actually had a girlfriend. "Not officially, but I'm trying." Xian Chunrong didn't admit it, fearing it would harm Zhang Lui's reputation. "Pervert." Angry, Tang Mantong threw a punch at Xian Chunrong's face, and before he could react, he threw another punch. Zhang Lui wanted to intervene, but Tang Nian was faster, grabbing both of them and pulling them into the room. "Uncle, stop. There's a misunderstanding."
Tang Nian stop Tang Mantong.
She had a good impression of Xian Chunrong. He had rushed into a fire to save people and had the cleverness to call for help, showing he was brave and decent. If he said he hadn't pursued Tang Hongxing, it should be true. What misunderstanding? This guy deceived and toyed with Hongxing's feelings. She even jumped into a river for him and had a falling out with her family while he's out here living carefree with a girlfriend. Tang Mantong pointed at Xian Chunrong, furious. He didn't like Tang Hongxing, but he couldn't let an outsider bully his family. He had to teach this guy a lesson and defend his cousin's honor. "I've spoken to Tang Hongxing less than 10 times. I didn't accept any gifts from her. I made it clear I don't like her and told her to marry someone else. I do bear some responsibility for what happened to her, but I really didn't know she jumped into a river. Even if she did, I wouldn't marry her. Feelings can't be forced." Xian Chunrong wiped the blood from his mouth, feeling very angry. He didn't even remember Tang Hongxing's face clearly, and he had clearly told her he didn't like her. He was at his wit's end, as Tang Hongxing seemed to not understand, and insisted she would only marry him. "Brother Chunrong, I know you're saying that on purpose. You must have feelings for me. Don't worry, I won't marry anyone else. I will only marry you." Every time he said he didn't like her, Tang Hongxing would say this, looking at him with deep affection. Eventually, he started avoiding her, thinking it was better to stay away. But he never expected she would jump into a river. Luckily, she didn't die, otherwise he would have been in big trouble. Xian Chunrong felt a wave of fear. Tang Hongxing came to find him often, and there were many rumors in the village saying they were a couple. Even his parents believed it and urged him to marry her. No matter how much he tried to explain, no one believed him, saying he didn't know what was good for him. Xian Chunrong felt helpless and wronged. Even if he was a rich kid, he had the right to choose his wife, right? How could she be so devoted to you if you didn't promise her anything? Tang Mantong didn't believe it at all. Tang Hongxing was clearly infatuated with this guy, so he must have promised her something. Xian Chunrong was also angry and said, "Tang Hongxing is just crazy. I've told her many times that I don't like her. If you don't believe me, go ask Tang Hongxing yourself. Have I not told her many times to marry someone else and not to come looking for me?" Even after saying that, she wanted to jump into the river. "What can I do?" Tang Nian twitched her lips. If that's true, Xian Chunrong is indeed a bit wronged. Tang Monsong, seeing his firm expression, was shaken and asked, "Did you really say that? If I'm lying, let me get hit by a car right now." Xian Chunrong swore. In a moment of panic, Zhang Lui covered his mouth and scolded, "Why are you swearing like that? I'm not lying, so I'm not afraid." Xian Chunrong smiled at her, their eyes meeting with affection, which further shook Tang Monsong's belief. Could it really be that Tang Hongxing is the one with a problem? He remembered that it was always Tang Hongxing causing trouble, while Xian Chunrong never responded or came to Tang village. "I will definitely ask. If you lied, I won't go easy on you. I have a clear conscience." Xian Chunrong looked confident. He wasn't afraid of things he hadn't done. Tang Nian already believed him. What he said should be true. But she still didn't understand why, if Xian Chunrong and Zhang Lui loved each other, they couldn't be together in their past life. Moreover, Xian Chuanrong later became a wealthy man, and the rumor was that his beloved girl died, and he remained loyal to her. The rumor said that girl was Tang Hongxing. That can't be right, so could that beloved girl be Zhang Lui? Tang Nianyan's heart skipped a beat. Did Zhang Lui die in the past life?
How did she die?
She noticed the red scarf around Zhang Lui's neck and suddenly remembered that this girl loved wearing red scarves. The first time she saw her, she was wearing a royal blue coat with a red scarf. Tang Nianyan thought of He Fashing, the murderer. She hadn't heard about this in her past life, so it was likely that this monster hadn't been caught and harmed many girls. Could it be that Zhang Lui was? Tang Nianyan stopped thinking, hoping she was wrong. After Tang Monsong left, Tang Nianyan went to the hair salon to get a new hairstyle. Her long hair was gone, replaced with a bob cut, which many women were wearing now. Hair can be styled, but eyebrows can't be fixed easily, so Tang Nianyan had to use an eyebrow pencil. After finishing his work, Uncle Zhang came to find them and first took Xian Chuanrong to the rental house he had arranged, which had a yard, as he needed space for furniture. I've paid 3 months' rent. Just stay here and tell others you're helping a relative with furniture. Don't mention that you received money. Uncle Zhang instructed. Got it. Thank you, Uncle. Xian Chuanrong was very grateful and wanted to pay Uncle Zhang back. That's not urgent. Pay me back when you make money. Just do a good job, and as long as your skills are good, work will definitely come. Uncle Zhang declined. Xian Chuanrong owed him a life debt. Previously, in a fire, a beam had fallen, almost hitting him, but Xian Chuanrong pushed him away, saving his life. I'm not boasting. Once I make the furniture, we'll see if the customers are satisfied. Xian Chuanrong was still confident. His carpentry skills were passed down through generations. His great-great-grandfather made a fortune with this skill and bought hundreds of acres of land, proving that the family craft was not lacking. His great-great-grandfather became successful in the provincial capital, and now he was here, starting from scratch. If his ancestor could succeed, so could he. Uncle Zhang was busy and couldn't spare much time, so he left a list of clients and went. Zhang Lui stayed to help with cleaning, but Tang Nianyan didn't want to be a third wheel, and she had important matters to attend to. She called Zhang Lui outside, looking serious, and reminded her, if you want to be with Xian Chuanrong, just wait. Wait for my parents to agree? Uncle also told me to wait and said there would definitely be changes in the future, but I don't know if that's true. Zhang Lui pouted, feeling anxious. She didn't want to burden her family or separate from Xian Chuanrong, but she also didn't want to wait indefinitely. She was afraid that waiting would lead to nothing. But she couldn't bear to cut ties with her family. Zhang Lui was very conflicted, her face full of worry. Listen to your uncle. After Tang Nianyan said that, she left. Zhang Lui chased after her and asked Nianyan, did you figure something out? Yes. Tang Nianyan didn't deny it. Zhang Lui immediately brightened up, her worries fading. Since Nianyan could predict the weather so accurately, she surely wouldn't be wrong. She had to hold on and wait for the day when the clouds would clear. Tang Nianyan caught up with Uncle Zhang and invited him for tea. Xiao Tang, I still have some work here. If you have something to say, just say it. You're Xiaowei's friend, so don't be polite. Uncle Zhang smiled. This matter is too long to explain, but don't worry, it won't affect your work and will even bring you some glory. Tang Nianyan pulled Uncle Zhang to a nearby tea house, ordered some snacks and Longjing tea, then took out some pearl crafts, bamboo weaving, wheat straw fans, and socks. She laid them all out on the table, a dazzling array. Uncle Zhang was amazed and asked, Xiao Tang, where did you buy these? They look familiar. He picked up the wheat straw fan to admire it and finally remembered, exclaiming, aren't these the crafts that shone at the trade fair? They seem to be from our province. Where did you get them? This autumn trade fair had great results for their province, especially a village-run craft factory that secured foreign exchange orders worth 2 to 3 million. Even Xinhua News Agency reported it, although it was just a brief mention. Uncle Zhang remembered it well. They're from our village's enterprise. I'm one of the factory's managers. Tang Nianyan confidently showed off, and seeing Uncle Zhang's astonished expression, her vanity was greatly satisfied. No wonder so many people like to show off. It feels really good. Uncle Zhang's eyes filled with admiration, and his tone became more respectful. She was no longer just a silly niece. She was a smart and capable woman. I have a question, Tang Nianyan said. Uncle Zhang sat up straight, listening attentively. Our factory achieved such great results, and even Xinhua News Agency reported it. Why haven't our provincial newspapers and TV stations come to report on us? Tang Nianyan asked assertively. What great news material. These people lacked news sensitivity. Uncle Zhang's mouth twitched. It was the first time he had seen someone actively request an interview. There are over 20 units from our province participating in the trade fair. We usually interview the top 6 factories. Uncle Zhang replied. Which 6 are those? Tang Nianyan asked humbly. Uncle Zhang named 3 units, all state-owned large factories, and they were not producing agricultural or mining products, but mechanical or textile products. The total foreign exchange amount of beautiful products couldn't compare to theirs. Don't you find that arrangement ridiculous? What are their product prices compared to ours? They're not even in the same league. Which takes up more space, a ton of cotton or a ton of iron? Tang Nianyan wasn't angry. The leaders who made such arrangements must be out of touch. She didn't want to get angry with foolish people. Uncle Zhang smiled wryly and said, I understand your point, but I don't have the authority to arrange interviews. Talking to me won't help. Then who arranges interviews at your TV station? Director Sun. He calls the shots. What is Director Sun afraid of? Tang Nianyan asked directly. Uncle Zhang felt a chill down his back and started to panic. What was this girl planning? I am very careful in my work, don't worry. Tang Nianyan reassured him, but Uncle Zhang didn't feel reassured. However, don't you want to stop doing temporary interviews? Wouldn't you like to have a program that you can fully control? Tang Nianyan dangled the bait. Zhang Lui said her uncle had always dreamed of having an independent production program, but now he could only do temporary interviews, far from being an independent producer. Uncle Zhang's eyes lit up. He was tempted. Director Sun is afraid of his wife, but he still likes to get touchy with female colleagues. He has the desire but lacks the courage. Uncle Zhang didn't hesitate for long. He decided to take a gamble to produce the program independently.
Got it.
Tang Nianyan perfectly understood and got up to leave. Uncle Zhang sat nervously, unsure if his gamble was right. It should be, right? For the next 2 days, Tang Nianyan didn't go shopping, and Zhang Luwei was too busy to accompany her, spending all her time with her boyfriend, Xian Chunrong, which made it convenient for her to get things done. During these 2 days, Tang Nianyan followed Director Sunday. Just as Uncle Zhang said, Director Sun not only lacked ability, but also liked to make things difficult for his subordinates. He often got touchy with female colleagues who were too afraid to speak out. She also discovered that Director Sun's position was not very secure, as 2 deputy directors were eyeing his job, with the biggest threat being a deputy director named Ma. Uncle Zhang had told her that Deputy Director Ma was young, capable, ambitious, and had a decent character. The young people at the station liked to work with him. Deputy Director Ma, named Ma Jiming, was in his 30s, right at the age to make a big impact. After just 2 days of following, Tang Nianyan made a big discovery. The wife-fearing Director Sun was actually hiding a mistress. Director Sun kept his affair very secret. He was careful, arriving at work at 8 and leaving at 5, with a 1-hour lunch break. He stuck to this schedule, even going to the market after work to buy groceries and cook dinner. Tang Nianyan had asked around, and the neighbors said Director Sun was a model husband, handling all the household chores and treating his wife well. His wife couldn't have children, but Director Sun never complained. Unlike the people at the station, his neighbors had a very good impression of him. Hardly anyone said anything bad. Such a praised man not only hid a mistress, but also had an illegitimate son in his teens. Every day during his lunch break, Director Sun would rush to see his mistress and son, never staying more than a minute. For over 10 years, he kept this up, and Tang Nianyan couldn't help but admire his persistence. That day, as soon as noon arrived, Director's son hurried out. Director, going out to eat again? A few people with lunch trays ran into him as they headed to the cafeteria. Yeah, I feel like having snow vegetable and shredded pork noodles today. Director's son smiled but didn't stop, quickly heading out, feeling cheerful. It was his mistress's birthday, and he promised to celebrate with her. He was quite satisfied with this gentle and obedient mistress. Not only was she young and beautiful, but she also gave him a son. After working hard for over 20 years, he was content with his achievements. His only regret was not having a son. He held traditional views, believing that not having children was the worst kind of unfilial behavior. Now that he had succeeded, he needed a son to inherit his legacy. Director's son felt he hadn't done anything wrong. For years, he had served that barren old woman like a slave. Everything he had now was what he deserved. But he had to be careful not to ruin everything. Once that old woman was gone, he could live openly with his son. Riding his bike quickly, Director's son didn't notice Tang Nian following him at a leisurely pace. The place where he hid his mistress was not far from the station. It took about 10 minutes by bike. With a round trip of 20 minutes, 10 minutes for lunch, and half an hour for some intimate time, he had more than enough time during his 1-hour break. As he neared his mistress's home, Director's son turned his jacket inside out, put on a hat, took off his glasses, and slightly hunched his back, instantly looking 10 years older, a stark contrast to his image at the station. He knocked 3 times on the door, and a plump, beautiful woman opened it, smiling happily when she saw him and letting him in. The woman opened the door wider and said loudly, "Brother, we have meat today. Eat plenty and don't worry about paying next time. We're family." "That won't do. Even close brothers need to settle accounts. If you don't take my money, I won't come." Director's son replied in a low voice, pretending to be her cousin who worked temporary jobs in the city, coming over for a good meal every noon. The neighbors believed this story since he only came for lunch and didn't visit at other times, so there was nothing suspicious. Once the door closed, Tang Nian moved to the back window. With her keen hearing, she quickly caught the sounds of inappropriate activities inside. They were so eager they didn't even bother to eat. 10 minutes passed and the noise stopped. Tang Nian curled her lip in disdain. It was true what they said about men in their 40s being like hollowed-out radishes. Nothing there. "Brother's son, Xiao Jia is 11 now and often asks about your identity. He's starting to suspect," the woman whispered. "Don't worry, it won't be long." "I'm not worried. I've been with you for over 10 years without a name or status, and I'm willing, but the older Xiao Jia gets, the harder he is to handle. I'm just worried one day."
Sigh.
At most, 6 months left. That old woman has been getting more irritable lately. She won't last much longer. Director's son spoke with certainty. Tang Nian's mind raced. Could it be that Director's son was poisoning his wife? The sounds of intimacy resumed inside, and they were at it again, this time not even lasting 10 minutes. After eating, Director's son hurried back to the station, timing it perfectly. Tang Nian was in her space developing photos, which were high-definition images of Director's son and his mistress. She didn't rush to find Deputy Director Ma. She needed to confirm the situation with Director's son's wife first. In the afternoon, she went to the Broadcasting Bureau's residential building. Director's son's wife was a high-ranking executive there and came from a good family. Director's son's current position was largely thanks to her. Tang Nian didn't have to work hard to find out about son's wife. She learned that she hadn't been well lately and hadn't been to work for over half a month, taking leave to rest at home. Xiao Gao seems to be getting more irritable. Did she yell at Xiao's son again this morning? She did last night too, and even broke something. I live right below them, and it sounded like an earthquake. My husband was so scared he had to take medicine. Xiao's son is really suffering. He does all the housework and doesn't dare say a harsh word to Xiao Gao, yet he gets scolded every day. Xiao Gao has a high position and comes from a powerful family. Xiao Sun's job depends on her. He can't afford to offend her. But Xiao Gao can't have children and is several years older than Xiao Sunday. She should understand Xiao Sun's difficulties. If it were any other man, they would have left by now. Tang Nian focused on gathering information from the gossiping aunties downstairs and quickly got first-hand intel. These women knew everything about the Sun family. Has Xiao Gao always had a bad temper? Tang Nian asked curiously. He was never good-natured. He and his wife have lived in this building for over 10 years, and I've never seen him in a good mood. Recently, though, he seems to be on edge, not only yelling at Xiao's son but also giving us a hard time, a middle-aged woman said, disappointed. A few days ago, I ran into her in the hallway. Oh my, her face was darker than coal, and she glared at me. Another woman huffed. Yesterday, my husband was making wonton filling, and Xiao Gao knocked on our door, angry, saying we were too loud and disturbing her rest. She acted like we owed her money. I didn't let her off easy, telling her that she fights with Xiao's son every day and breaks things, and we haven't said anything about it. The woman living above the Sun family also had strong opinions about Sun's wife. From their descriptions, Sun's wife seemed unreasonable, hot-tempered, and prone to violence, while Director Sun appeared to be a pitiful man living under his wife's tyranny. If Tang Nian hadn't overheard the conversation between Director Sun and his mistress, she might have thought Sun's wife was just going through menopause. But now, she suspected that Sun's wife had been poisoned. To find out if it was true, she needed to see her in person. Tang Nian went to the Sun family's apartment on the 3rd floor and knocked on the door. After a long wait, it finally opened, revealing an ordinary-looking, short, plump, and impatient middle-aged woman.
Who are you?
Sun's wife asked sharply. I'm here to see you. Ignoring Sun's wife's dark expression, Tang Nian pushed the door open and walked in. What are you doing?
Get out.
Sun's wife shouted, her face darkening further. She didn't recognize this woman, and her health was deteriorating. The medicine she took didn't help. Her headache was worse. She felt nauseous, and her stomach hurt. She had visited several hospitals, but no one could find the cause. Have you been feeling unwell lately? Headaches, nausea, fatigue, insomnia, irritability? Tang Nian listed the symptoms of mercury poisoning, her first suspicion. The most obvious symptom of mercury poisoning is irritability, and mercury is a heavy metal that is easy to obtain, colorless, and tasteless, making it hard to detect when used to harm someone. Sun's wife's face changed dramatically, and she asked in disbelief, How do you know? This young woman was spot on, even better than a doctor. I also know that the medicine you took hasn't improved your condition, and it's getting worse, right? Tang Nian took a deep breath. The room smelled strongly of traditional Chinese medicine. She opened the lid of a thermos and found dark brown herbal medicine inside, still steaming. Holding her breath, she quickly closed the lid. Mercury can evaporate into the air, and she didn't want to get poisoned. Why are you touching my things?
Put that down.
Sun's wife scolded, feeling that Tang Nian was very rude. This herbal medicine was made by her husband in the morning. She found it too bitter to drink, and this batch was especially hard to swallow. After a few tries, she had secretly poured most of it out. You're right not to drink this medicine. If you had, you would have been dead by now. Tang Nian set the cup down and told Sun's wife, This medicine is toxic. You weren't sick before, but now you are because of it. If you keep drinking it, you won't last 6 months. Don't talk nonsense. My husband made this medicine. Sun's wife's face turned pale, her lips losing color, but deep down, she was starting to believe. If you want to live, get this medicine tested. Tang Nian didn't want to waste any more time, nor did she show Sun's wife the clear photos. She left quickly. She wasn't worried about Sun's wife telling Director Sun because she was headed to find Ma Jiming. Not long after she left, Sun's wife also went out to find a classmate who worked at a hospital. Tang Nian arrived at Ma Jiming's office and said directly, Director Ma, I want to. It's Deputy Director Ma. Ma Jiming interrupted her, correcting her title. He'll soon be the head director, so just call him Director Ma. Tang Nian pulled out the clear photos, which were exceptionally well taken. Ma Jiming picked one up, and after seeing it, his face turned red with embarrassment as he awkwardly set it down, looking at her speechlessly. This young girl had thicker skin than he did. What a shame. Comrade Tang, where did you get these photos? Ma Jiming felt pleased inside but tried to keep a straight face, wanting to know if there were any issues with the photo source. Through proper channels. As long as you send someone to Tang Village for an interview, I'll give you all these photos and a bombshell piece of news that will ensure Director Sun never recovers. Tang Nian laid out all the photos on the table. Ma Jiming glanced at them and quickly moved away, his face heating up.
All right.
Ma Jiming eagerly agreed. Who would refuse such a good opportunity? Tang Nian then explained how Director Sun had poisoned his wife. Ma Jiming's expression changed, and he asked, half in disbelief, does he have the guts to do that? This Sun relied on his wife to get where he was, and now he wanted to throw her away? Tang Nian sneered, mocking, he already has a love child. What else is he afraid of? Ma Jiming shook his head, realizing that Sun was digging his own grave. Sun's wife and Ma Jiming acted almost simultaneously. Just 2 days later, Director Sun's dreams were shattered. Sun's wife personally led the police to the TV station to arrest Director Sun, and the notice of his dismissal was posted at the station, in black and white, with a big red stamp. The notice stated that Director Sun had a corrupt lifestyle and a bad influence, leading to his dismissal and a lifetime ban from employment. At the same time, an announcement was made about Ma Jiming's promotion to director. In just 2 days, he had risen from deputy director to head director. He also kept his promise and sent Uncle Zhang to Tang Village for an interview. As for Director Sun, he was now eating government food in a jail cell. Sun's wife divorced him and informed the police to treat him well. As for Director Sun's mistress and love child, Sun's wife didn't make things difficult for them. The mother and child, without jobs or money, soon returned to the countryside. Zhang Lui learned that Tang Nian had successfully dealt with the TV station and admired her greatly. During these days in the provincial city, she looked radiant, even more beautiful than in Zhucheng. Love truly is the best beauty treatment. The relevant departments also sent a banner for her selfless act and a cash reward of 200 yuan each. They arranged for Xian Chunrong to work at the provincial furniture factory. Although it was just a temporary job, Xian Chunrong was very satisfied. They also offered Tang Nian a temporary position at the provincial textile factory, but she declined. She wasn't interested in a temporary job when she could have a permanent position at the Hu City turbine factory. Xian Chunrong took on many side jobs, working at the furniture factory during the day and returning to their rental to do private work at night. His carpentry skills were indeed excellent. His great-great-grandfather had learned the craft in Dongyang, where carpenters were famous for working on the Forbidden City, known nationwide for their skills. Dongyang wood carving is one of the first national intangible cultural heritages. Dongyang's wood carving skills are extraordinary, and Xian Chunrong has mastered them. He has also combined them with Western carpentry techniques, creating furniture that is not only beautiful and practical but also saves time and money, making it very popular with customers. After seeing the furniture he made, Tang Nian understood why he succeeded in his past life. It was because of his real skills. As long as there are no natural disasters or accidents in this life, Xian Chunrong should also succeed. In the blink of an eye, they had stayed in the provincial city for 7 or 8 days. Tang Nian reluctantly pulled away from Zhang Lui and returned to Zhucheng. Uncle Zhang said he would go to Tang Village for an interview in a few days and needed to prepare. Tang Nian also needed to get ready. After resting for a night in the county town, Tang Mantong went back first. Tang Nian leisurely rode her bike and appeared at the entrance of Tang Village. Second sister is back, a child shouted, and then an old lady rushed over, grabbing the handlebars of her bike. Before Tang Nian could react, a slap landed on her back. How dare you run into such a big fire? Why didn't you burn all your hair off? The one who rushed over was Grandma Tang. She had been coming to the village entrance every day, stretching her neck to see if her granddaughter was back. Her anger grew as she waited, ready to give Tang Nian a good scolding. Grandma, let me park first. Tang Nian quickly put her foot down and dodged the old lady's slap. Stop. After a few seconds, Grandma Tang paused, and as soon as the bike stopped, she slapped again. Tang Nian didn't bother to dodge this time, covering her head and letting the old lady vent her anger since it didn't hurt anyway. Don't you know fire is dangerous? Do you think you're a monkey? Even the Supreme Lord can't survive a fire? If you go to save a fire again, I'll beat you to death first. Grandma Tang twisted Tang Nian's ear while scolding her. I know. Tang Nian replied casually, letting it go in one ear and out the other, just trying to appease her grandma. Grandma, here's a bonus for you. Tang Nian pulled out 200 yuan from her pocket and handed it over.
Don't want it.
Even if it's 10,000 yuan, you're not allowed to save fires or jump into rivers. In the future, stay away from such things. Grandma Tang glared and refused the money, considering it her granddaughter's life savings, which she didn't like. Fine, I won't insist. I'll buy new clothes. Tang Nian tried to put the money back in her pocket, but Grandma Tang snatched it away. What clothes? You have plenty of new clothes already. Your closet is stuffed. You could change outfits every day for a month. This money is your life savings. I'll keep it for you. Grandma Tang rubbed Tang Nian's short hair roughly, complaining, You've ruined your nice hair again. It'll take a long time to grow back. Hurry home. Okay. Tang Nian sighed in relief, glad the scolding was over. Other villagers gathered around, expressing their concern and echoing Grandma Tang's advice not to be a hero. The team leader received the news and hurried over. Before he could start scolding, Tang Nian interrupted him. Uncle, the TV station is coming in 3 days for an interview. You need to prepare, just like when the foreign merchants came. They're coming in 3 days? Why didn't you tell me earlier? I'm not prepared at all. The team leader was startled, forgetting his scolding as he rushed off to get ready. The villagers were buzzing with excitement, asking what the TV station would inquire about. The TV station will ask if you're satisfied with your current life, what your hopes for the future are, and any suggestions for the factory. Those are the main questions. Tang Nian had already discussed this with Uncle Zhang. The questions were prepared in advance, focusing on promoting the happy and prosperous life. After being busy for days, Tang Nian had lunch and went to bed, sleeping until dark. Tang Mantong woke her up, urging her to go to the team leader's house to clarify things about Xian Chunrong. I don't want to go. Tang Nian turned over, facing the wall, wanting to continue sleeping. There's also the TV station matter. We need to discuss it together. Hurry up. Tang Mantong called out several times, but Tang Nian didn't respond. Frustrated, he went outside to soak his hands in cold water and press them against her face.
Ah.
You're dead. Tang Nian jumped up, wide awake from the cold, and angrily chased after Tang Mantong, determined to get back at him. Grandma Tang had just come in and, hearing the commotion, immediately slapped both of them. If you're so bored, go find a partner. Kids your age are already getting married. The new year is coming, and you're 26 and still single. I'm embarrassed to face your father. After the new year, you'll be 18, still acting like a child, not even knowing how to dress. If you get sick from the cold, you'll just cry. Hurry and get dressed. Grandma Tang scolded everyone, pushing Tang Nian back to get dressed. After she came out, she scolded Tang Mantong again. Every year, as the new year approached, Grandma Tang's frustration grew, mainly directed at Tang Mantong. Mom, right now, we need to focus on Hongxing's situation. You need to make a decision. Let's go. Tang Mantong quickly changed the subject, knowing that if his mother continued, his ears would be sore. What's wrong with Hongxing? Is she trying to jump into the river again? Grandma Tang was successfully distracted, thinking that Tang Hongxing was being foolish again. I can't explain it all now. Let's go to Mansion's house and talk. Tang Mantong took Grandma Tang with one hand and pulled Tang Nian with the other, heading toward the team leader's house. Aunt Huang Zhaodi was cooking dinner in the kitchen, and the aroma of steamed meat with dried vegetables filled the air. Recently, the village's food quality had improved significantly, and the smell of meat could be smelled every day. We're having meat at my house today. Huang Zhaodi warmly invited them, showing a change from her usual stinginess. With more money coming in, they no longer worried about food or clothing, and Huang Zhaodi was more generous, with meat appearing on the table every day. We can eat later. There are urgent matters. Tang Mantong glanced at Tang Hongxing, who was stoking the fire, shaking his head secretly. This niece was as foolish as Wu Jin. He wondered if there was something wrong with the family's luck to produce such silly children. Huang Zhaodi felt a sudden unease, sensing it had to do with her daughter. Sure enough, Tang Mantong called out to Tang Hongxing, "Hongxing, come here. I need to ask you something." Tang Hongxing stood up expressionlessly and followed him into the main room. The team leader was listening to the radio and turned it off when he saw them, while Tang Jianshu was reading a newspaper. "I saw Xian Chunrong in the provincial city. He has a girlfriend now." Tang Mantong dropped a bombshell right away, and Tang Hongxing's face changed dramatically as she screamed, "Impossible. Brother Chunrong wouldn't do that." She acted like she was going crazy, trying to run out to find Xian Chunrong for answers, but Tang Jianshu stopped her. "Let go of me. I need to ask him." Tang Hongxing yelled frantically, and the team leader, unable to hold back anymore, slapped her. Tang Hongxing has been causing trouble for a long time, and the team leader has been patient. Now, he can't hold back any longer. His suppressed anger bursts out, and he hits Tang Hongxing hard, causing one side of her face to swell up instantly. Huang Zhaodi is startled and feels a bit sorry, but soon hardens her heart. Her daughter has been too disobedient, so a few hits are deserved. Tang Hongxing covers her face and cries softly, deeply saddened, which makes the team leader even angrier. He scolds, "Your father and mother are still alive, so why are you crying like this? Don't talk nonsense, it's almost New Year." Old Lady Tang is unhappy with the scolding. At her age, she shouldn't be speaking carelessly. Some words are unlucky to say. Grandpa Si, who lives next door, hears the noise and comes over. Seeing his crying granddaughter, he doesn't say anything and sits down to listen to what's going on. Tang Mantong says, "I asked Xian Chunrong. He said he spoke to Hongxing less than 10 times and clearly told her that he has no such feelings for her and won't marry her." The faces of the team leader and his wife change. They always thought their daughter and Xian Chunrong were in love, but now it turns out she has been pining for him alone? This is more embarrassing than a slap in the face. "Hongxing, did Xian Chunrong really say this to you?"
Tang man từng ats.
"He said that on purpose. He's afraid of dragging me down." Tang Hongxing sobs in response, making the team leader and his wife so angry they almost spit blood. Unable to contain his anger, the team leader grabs a ruler from the table and strikes Tang Hongxing, yelling, "Do you have no shame? He doesn't even like you, yet you keep clinging to him and threaten to jump into the river. You've embarrassed the Tang family. How could he, Tang Manshan, have such a shameless and foolish daughter?" The team leader is truly furious. This situation is more upsetting than if his daughter and Xian Chunrong were in love. He used to think Tang Wujin was foolish, but now he sees his daughter is no better. They are both equally stupid. Tang Hongxing grits her teeth, her body shaking in pain, but she endures it, tears streaming down her face, as if she has suffered a great injustice. Seeing her like this makes the team leader even angrier, and he strikes harder. Crack. The ruler breaks, and the team leader throws the broken piece aside, looking for something else to punish his rebellious daughter. "Stop hitting her. It's useless. Just find a matchmaker to look for a man in the mountains, someone older, tough, and hardworking, and marry her off after the new year." Grandpa Si firmly stops the team leader. He usually doesn't interfere in family matters, but when he speaks, it's as good as done.
No.
"Grandpa, I want to marry Chunrong. He won't find anyone else. Please, I'll die if I don't marry him." Tang Hongxing kneels down, pleading desperately. This scene feels familiar to everyone. They all remember Tang Wujin, who caused a scene to marry Xiao Yanjing, and now he's gone.
Goody.
"Just die now." The team leader storms into the backyard and quickly comes out with half a bottle of pesticide, a rope, and a sharp pair of scissors, throwing them in front of Tang Hongxing. He would rather have raised this rebellious daughter for 19 years than let her embarrass the Tang family. Xian Chunrong already has a girlfriend, yet this foolish girl still clings to him, showing her shamelessness and stupidity. Tang Hongxing trembles as she reaches for the scissors closest to her. Huang Zhaodi tries to stop her but is fiercely glared at by the team leader, so she dares not intervene and covers her face, crying. The room is very quiet, with no one speaking, only the sounds of Tang Hongxing and Huang Zhaodi crying. Tang Niannian yawns in boredom, thinking that with all this hesitation, she must not really want to die. Tang Hongxing is even worse than Tang Wujin. When Tang Wujin tried to end it, he didn't hesitate at all. In the end, Tang Hongxing doesn't go through with it. The scissors linger on her neck for a long time before falling to the ground. She looks at the team leader with anger and resentment, saying, "Dad, why do you have to force me to death? I'm your own daughter. I don't have a foolish and selfish daughter like you. I've made it clear, 2 paths. Since you're too scared to die, just stay at home and marry into the mountains after the new year. You don't have to go to the sock factory anymore." The team leader's heart has turned cold. He won't let this foolish girl stay in Tang Village any longer. It's better to marry her off and let her fend for herself. Don't blame him for being harsh. After all, this foolish girl is choosing a path of self-destruction instead of living a good life. "I won't marry. Dad, let me see Xian Chunrong just once. If I can ask him directly, I'll give up. Please, let me see him."
Tang Hongxing krit, pleading.
She still doesn't believe that Xian Chunrong would say those things. He must have said them to protect her. "Third uncle, the TV station will come to interview in 3 days. Don't let anything happen." Tang Niannian interjects, then tells Tang Hongxing Xian Chunrong is in the provincial city now, and he's in a good relationship with his girlfriend. "He told me he has rejected you many times before. He didn't accept the things you sent him, and he said you keep bothering him, which has caused him a lot of trouble. Xian Chunrong asked me to tell you not to look for him anymore. He doesn't want his girlfriend to misunderstand." The last sentence is something Tang Niannian added on her own, but she thinks it's probably what Xian Chunrong is thinking, even if he didn't say it out loud. Tang Hongxing's face loses color, her lips trembling as she mutters, "No, Chunrong wouldn't say that. Why wouldn't he? Xian Chunrong doesn't like you. Just because you like him doesn't mean he has to like you back. You're being unreasonable. I'm telling you clearly, the TV station will come for an interview soon. You need to behave. If anything goes wrong, I won't be polite." Tang Niannian's tone turns colder. After saying this, she stands up, having lost her patience. This kind of foolishness is just wasting her time. "Don't worry, I'll lock her up." The team leader promises, and he means it. He immediately goes to get the rope and calls Tang Jianshu to help tie her up. Tang Niannian doesn't respond. Even if Tang Hongxing really wants to cause trouble, she has her ways to handle it. In the house, the sound of Tang Hongxing crying could be heard, but it quickly stopped, likely because someone covered her mouth. Tang Niannian shook her head, unable to understand the thinking of people like Tang Hongxing and Tang Wujin. They were 100 times more foolish than the woman who dug wild vegetables. At least Wang Baochuan was a legitimate wife and could dig vegetables with confidence. Tang Hongxing, on the other hand, was merely infatuated. Xian Chunrong had clearly rejected her, yet this foolish girl still jumped into the river. So foolish. Not long after Tang Niannian got home, Grandma Tang and Tang Mantong returned. During dinner, Grandma Tang mentioned Tang Hongxing with disdain. "I used to think this girl was smart and capable, but it turns out she's just as foolish. Hopelessly foolish." Su Jinfeng's expression changed as she thought of her eldest daughter, Tang Wujin, and sighed. However, she didn't stay sad for long. Her baby was due in spring, and she felt this pregnancy was different from the previous 4. She was sure it would be a boy. All her energy was focused on the baby, leaving her little time to worry about anything else. For the next 3 days, Tang Hongxing didn't show her face and didn't go to work at the sock factory. The village chief said she was sick and resting at home. In reality, she was locked up, with doors and windows nailed shut. The village chief had learned from Tang Wujin's experience and used several rows of nails, so even if Tang Hongxing had wings, she couldn't escape. No one in the village asked about Tang Hongxing. Everyone was focused on the TV station's upcoming interview. Every household began cleaning, as it had been 2 months since the last visit from foreign merchants, and the village had accumulated a lot of dirt and dust. Some children had an inch-thick layer of grime around their necks that needed scrubbing clean. In these days, the village often echoed with the sounds of children crying. Ouch, that hurts. Mom, be gentle. Gentle? How can I clean you up like that? Even coal miners aren't as dirty as you. Stop whining. I'm not using a knife on you. Such conversations were common. Mothers used all their strength to scrub their children clean, and some even used brushes, which sometimes led to skin being scraped off. The children could only endure the pain and cry silently, too afraid to resist. If they dared to protest, a slap would surely follow, more painful than any scraped skin. Within 2 days, the village transformed completely. Even the old camphor tree at the entrance was adorned with red lanterns, like an 80-year-old woman wearing a flower in her hair, looking vibrant in her old age. The elderly and children were all clean and tidy. The child known for sniffling had a clean nose, too scared to sniff again. This was because Tang Jiuji had warned him that if he sniffed again, he would get a beating. The child believed him and was so frightened that his nasal issues cleared up. With just 1 day left before the TV station arrived, the countdown began. The village chief wanted to hang a banner at the village entrance and invite a band and lion dance team to perform, similar to the welcome for foreign merchants, but Tang Nian refused. We can clean up, but we can't make a big fuss. The TV station is coming to film our daily life. If we create too much noise, it won't be daily anymore. We can tidy up, but we shouldn't go overboard. Just like how celebrities appear on reality shows with minimal makeup, they need to look natural, but not too plain. Daily life means your grandma chasing your uncle around with a feather duster. Can that be filmed? The village chief retorted, feeling that Tang Nian was being unrealistic. They had cleaned up even the chicken droppings in the yard and the dirt on the children, which was hardly daily life. Uncle, you need to learn. Tang Nian didn't want to waste her breath explaining. It was better to just do things her way. Tang Jianshu suppressed a laugh and pulled the disgruntled village chief aside, assuring him, "Don't worry, I've got it all arranged." He understood his cousin's point. It was similar to a blind date where young people prepare themselves well, wearing new clothes and tidying their hair without making it too extravagant. Each workshop should feature a model worker. Let Grandma handle the straw fan workshop and you pick one from the other workshops, Sengo, Tang Nian said. She hadn't told Grandma Tang yet, fearing she would get too excited to eat or sleep. Got it, Tang Jianshu nodded. As night fell, wisps of smoke rose from Tang village. A bit of snow remained on the eaves, and the moon hung brightly in the sky, promising another sunny day tomorrow. The Tang family sat down for dinner, which included steamed salted fish, dried vegetables with meat, stir-fried bamboo shoots with shredded meat and pickled vegetables, along with some home-cooked dishes. Grandma Tang placed the stir-fried bamboo shoots in front of Tang Nian. Fresh bamboo shoots just dug up this afternoon, very tender. Tang Nian picked up a piece of bamboo shoot and put it in her mouth. The tender and delicious bamboo shoots, stir-fried with pickled vegetables, brought out the best flavor, making it the best dish of winter. Delicious. Tang Nian took another piece, and Tang Manjin smiled. I'll go dig more tomorrow. This year there are plenty of bamboo shoots. Be careful when digging. The mozo bamboo is very important. Understood. Tang Manjin knew what he was doing. He only dug the carefully selected ones. If there were too many bamboo shoots, it would affect the growth of the mozo bamboo, so he needed to dig some out for them to grow properly. Grandma, the TV station is coming tomorrow. Tang Nian casually mentioned, but Grandma Tang didn't look up, casually picking up some vegetables and replied, I know. Your third uncle has said it hundreds of times. The TV station is going to film you making straw fans up close. Tang Nian announced this significant news lightly. The whole family didn't react at first, continuing to eat slowly, including Grandma Tang. After a minute, everyone finally reacted, looking up at Grandma Tang. Grandma Tang chewed her food more slowly, eventually stopping, her face filled with shock as she asked, "The TV station is filming me?" "Yes." Tang Nian nodded calmly, taking another piece of bamboo shoot and crunching it. The atmosphere felt explosive. Grandma Tang slapped her hand on the table, nervously muttering, Why didn't you tell me earlier? Oh no. I'm not prepared at all. What am I going to do now? Grandma Tang, flustered and anxious, felt like a headless fly, worrying about embarrassing herself tomorrow and losing face for Tang Village, while also fearing the TV station would make her look bad. This would be broadcasted on TV, and everyone in the province would see her ugly face. How embarrassing. Mom, didn't you say you could make them with one hand while closing your eyes?
Tang man tâm joker.
Smack. Grandma Tang slapped him hard on the back of the head without holding back. Eat your food.
Gờ răng ma tang sao tét. Ano.
Was she not allowed to boast? Tang Montong's head buzzed as he sulked and lowered his head to eat. Grandma, just act like you usually do. There's no need to panic.
Tang niani an comfort.
Fortunately, she had the foresight not to mention it earlier. Otherwise, the household would have been in chaos. That night, not only the Tang family was nervous, other families who received the notice were even more anxious. Tang Jianshu selected a typical worker from each workshop, choosing those who usually performed best, quick and skilled. Except for the wheat straw fan made by Grandma Tang, all other selections were fair and unbiased, with no favoritism. Like Grandma Tang, the families who received the notice lost their appetite for dinner, rummaging through their closets for suitable clothes. The bamboo weaving master even dug out his wedding outfit from decades ago. Grandma Tang changed into 70 or 80 outfits that night, flitting between the bedroom and living room like a colorful butterfly. After changing in the bedroom and showing off in the living room, everyone praised her outfits, but Grandma Tang felt their compliments lacked sincerity, so she went back to change again. Back and forth, she kept changing. Xian Jinju and Su Jinfeng acted as her advisors. This dark blue coat looks great, Mom. You look more impressive than Xian's wife.
Su Jinfeng plies.
I think the camel color looks better. Xian Jinju disagreed. Grandma Tang preferred the dark red outfit, finding it festive. This winter, she had made 4 wool coats, all gifted by Tang Nian Nian. Grandma Tang was torn, wishing she could wear all 4 at once. She suddenly realized that having too many new clothes wasn't a good thing. It was hard to choose the right one. Unlike before, when she only had one outfit to wear out, she didn't have to think about it. Tang Nian Nian came in and picked up an old indigo cotton jacket from the bed, saying, "Wear this. This is too old. We're filming." Su Jinfeng and Xian Jinju both disagreed, saying she should dress nicely for the TV appearance. "Tomorrow we're filming work scenes, not a wedding. We need to look like hardworking people." Tang Nian Nian explained seriously that dressing too fancy wouldn't fit the working theme. Grandma Tang slapped her forehead and decisively changed into the old clothes. Tang Nian Nian then asked Tang Jianshu to inform the other families not to dress too formally. Just a bit newer than usual would be fine. The next morning, everyone in the village woke up early. People spoke in softer tones than usual. The loudest woman in the village, calling her husband and kids for breakfast, sounded gentler than when she was newly married. Women who usually walked briskly moved more slowly, and everyone in the village, young and old, unconsciously slowed down, waiting for the TV station's arrival. The TV station drove from the provincial city and arrived at Tang Village around 9 o'clock. According to Tang Nian Nian's plan, the old yellow cow and the old man with the bamboo hat were already waiting on the stone bridge. The women washing clothes had changed into their favorite floral cotton jackets, holding sticks and waiting by the river. The men in the fields held their hoes, occasionally looking up. The old man on the stone bridge had already smoked 3 bags of tobacco and was stuffing the 4th into his pipe when a sharp whistle sounded. This was the agreed signal for the villagers. Tang Jiojin took on the role of signalman, climbing the tallest camphor tree in the village. When he saw a car approaching in the distance, he whistled to announce it. "They're coming, they're coming." Everyone suddenly sprang into action as if someone had pressed the play button. Women raised their sticks, vigorously beating the clothes, splashing water everywhere, while men swung their hoes, digging up large clumps of soil. The old man on the stone bridge stopped stuffing his pipe, hung it at his waist, and waved his whip in the air. The old yellow cow began to move slowly, heading across the stone bridge to graze on the fresh grass on the other side. Jiojin slid down the tree and played with his friends under the camphor tree, their laughter bright and cheerful. Nearby, several elderly ladies and gentlemen sat against the wall, enjoying the sun and chatting. Everything was as usual, just with people dressed a bit nicer than normal. When the TV station's vehicle reached the village entrance, Uncle Zhang opened the window and saw the beautiful and warm scene, urging the driver to stop. This scene is too beautiful to miss. It should be in the opening. Not only Uncle Zhang thought so, others from the TV station agreed. What's that cannon-like thing for? Why are they so flustered? It's definitely not for fireworks, don't worry. Nian Nian said to act like usual. Don't mind that cannon. Hurry and wash the clothes. A few women, seeing the camera for the first time, were a bit nervous, but they quickly calmed down. After all, they had hosted foreign guests before and were now seasoned villagers. The team leader was also a seasoned leader. He walked over confidently, extending his hand from a distance, and said loudly, "Welcome, leaders, to guide our work in Tang Village. Thank you for your hard work on the way here." "Not at all. Team Leader Tang is too modest. We're here to learn from you." Uncle Zhang, leading the interview, shook the team leader's hand firmly and exchanged pleasantries. The team leader took them to the VIP room for tea, which was simply the village committee office. The modest table was filled with sunflower seeds and snacks, making it seem less shabby. "Where is Comrade Tang Nian Nian?" Uncle Zhang asked when he didn't see her. "She's at the factory. We'll go over shortly," the team leader replied with a smile. "Let's go now." Uncle Zhang immediately stood up, needing to hurry back to the provincial city. As they left the VIP room, they saw a group of children peeking outside with bright, shining eyes. When they saw the adults come out, the children scattered. Leading the group was Tang Jiojin. It was Sunday, so he didn't have to go to school and was playing with his followers. "Kids, I have a few questions for you." Uncle Zhang waved with a smile, and the children shyly approached. "Are you all eating enough now?" Uncle Zhang asked. "Yes, I had 3 pieces of meat yesterday. My mom cooked it." A little boy replied, holding up 3 fingers, his chubby face rosy. "My mom made braised fish with fish my brother caught. She didn't cook fish well before, but now it's delicious." A little girl said loudly. "My mom fried eggs. We each got one, and it was tasty." The children playing with Tang Jiojin mostly had parents working at the factory, and their home conditions had greatly improved. Their meals were much better now. They didn't eat meat every day, but they could have it every few days. "Are you all going to school?" Uncle Zhang asked again. "It's Sunday, so we don't have school." The children replied in unison. "Let me quiz you. What is 3 plus 5?
8.
What is 3 plus 4? 7. What is 7 plus 8? Uncle Zhang asked a harder question, going a bit beyond their level. Tang Jiojin first counted on his fingers, then dragged a nearby child's hand to help count. The kids were very serious, and one little boy was so focused that he drooled. The TV crew found it amusing and filmed the innocent children. 16.
No, 18.
Neither. It's 17. The children all chimed in, each with their own opinion. "It's 15. Don't count wrong next time." Uncle Zhang couldn't help but laugh as he gave the correct answer, feeling pleased. The children were evenly split between boys and girls, clearly all attending school, showing that Tang Village did not favor boys over girls. The important sign of economic development is that women have the same right to education as men, and Tang Village excelled in this regard. The sock factory and the craft factory are next to each other. The workers are busy as usual, but everyone is wearing newer clothes and looking more energetic. Those who used to have messy hair have now gotten neat haircuts. Grandma Tang is holding wheat straw, feeling restless and glancing outside from time to time. "They're coming, they're coming. They're carrying something like a cannon. Aunt Air, get ready." A woman outside quickly runs in to inform. Grandma Tang's heart races, her hands shake, and she feels weak in her legs. She even wants to go to the bathroom, sweating nervously in the cold December weather. "Aunt Air, why are you so flustered? Just treat the reporters like air." Huang Zhaodi comforts her. "Don't whisper in my ear. It makes me even more nervous."
Gờ đang ma tang zip ly.
Grandma Tang doesn't feel comforted. Huang Zhaodi pouts, feeling envious. If it were her, she wouldn't be nervous at all. But sadly, her family doesn't have any successful daughters. The team leader leads the reporters inside. The TV station first films the entire workshop. Everyone sits up straight, eyes forward, and their hands don't stop moving. The wheat straw is skillfully woven into beautiful fans. After filming the workshop, they move on to close-ups, and the camera is almost in Grandma Tang's face. Surprisingly, Grandma Tang, who was so nervous she wanted to go to the bathroom, suddenly feels calm when she sees the camera. She weaves the wheat straw fan with ease, showing a hint of grace. "Aunt, how many years have you been weaving wheat straw fans?" Uncle Zhang interviews her. "I learned it as a child." The women in the village start learning as girls. They can weave with their eyes closed. Grandma Tang answers loudly. "Did anyone buy these wheat straw fans before?" "No, we only use them ourselves. No one came to buy." Grandma Tang shakes her head. Huang Zhaodi, eager to join in, moves closer to the camera and says, "If it weren't for Nian Nian thinking of selling them to foreigners, who would have known they would like these things?" "Is Nian Nian the same as Comrade Tang Nian Nian?" Uncle Zhang asks curiously. "Yes, Tang Nian Nian is my niece. I watched her grow up. She's been smart since she was little, always scoring perfect marks on tests, and she's pretty too. She's the smartest in our village. Thanks to the party, the government, and the chairman, we Tang villagers are living good lives." Huang Zhaodi praises Tang Nian Nian and doesn't forget to express gratitude to the officials. She leans closer to the camera, feeling very pleased. Even if the reporter doesn't film her, she has ways to get on TV. Grandma Tang glances at her, intentionally blocking part of the camera view, and loudly says, "Nian Nian is my granddaughter, raised by me. She's been close to me since she was little. I'm not bragging. My Nian Nian is definitely the smartest in the commune. Her brain is worth 10 others." Grandma Tang emphasizes that Nian Nian is her granddaughter and glances at Huang Zhaodi, asserting that the granddaughter belongs to her. Huang Zhaodi, undeterred, leans in closer with a big smile, saying, "Nian Nian loves to eat the sweet potato chips I dry for her. Every year I make her a lot. This girl not only has a good brain but also a good taste. The things she loves to eat are the best." Grandma Tang's smile freezes for a second, but she manages her expression well, not showing any displeasure on camera. She subtly blocks the camera again, wanting to talk more about how close she is to Tang Nian Nian. "Reporter Zhang, over there is the bamboo weaving workshop. Please come this way." The team leader interrupts their silent competition and gives a warning glance to his wife while leading the TV crew to the bamboo weaving workshop. Once they leave, Grandma Tang huffs heavily and quickly runs to the bathroom. Huang Zhaodi doesn't mind at all and feels delighted. After all, she made it on TV and she wore a new jacket today, so it should look good. "That machine just filmed me. I wonder if it caught my face?" "It filmed me too. My hair wasn't even done. My collar wasn't right and no one reminded me." Everyone is both excited and frustrated, feeling they didn't show their best side. Even though it was just a few seconds, they were on TV. "I wonder when it will air." "And air," asked Nian Nian, "and when it does, we can watch it at your house." When Grandma Tang returns from the bathroom, she generously says, "Everyone come to my house to watch when it airs." She also wants to see what she looks like on TV. It should be similar to looking in a mirror, right? The TV station originally planned to film for just half a day, but the enthusiasm of the Tang villagers was overwhelming. They prepared a feast with many local delicacies, more lavish than a big restaurant in the provincial capital. There were wild game, pork, beef, lamb, chicken, duck, fish, and seafood, all laid out on a large table, personally cooked by the best chef, Huang Zhaodi. Uncle Zhang and the others ate until they were full and felt that filming just a little was too little, so they extended the filming for another half day and returned to the provincial capital just before dark. The team leader also sent each person home with a bag of local specialties: winter bamboo shoots, wild game, dried wild vegetables, salted meat, dried fish, etc. All provided by Tang Nian Nian, who had plenty in her storage, along with some socks and bamboo crafts. Uncle Zhang and the others returned home loaded with gifts, feeling a bit embarrassed and determined to edit the footage well. Thus, what started as a simple filming task turned into a high-definition documentary due to the warm hospitality of the Tang villagers. Many years later, this documentary was preserved in the Tang Village Museum, allowing every visitor to enjoy this precious footage. A week later, Uncle Zhang called to inform that at 9:30 p.m., the provincial TV station would air this documentary about Tang Village, lasting 15 minutes. That time is a bit late, but they gave you a special segment. Remember to watch. Uncle Zhang said with a smile. Originally, the TV station planned to include just a minute in the news, but Director Ma was generous and secured a separate airing. Although 9:30 p.m. isn't prime time, many people will still watch. Thank you. When I go to the provincial capital, I'll treat you all to a meal. Tang Nian felt very satisfied. Director Ma must have put in a lot of effort for this, so when she goes to the provincial capital, she'll bring him a gift. This connection with a TV station is important. They will definitely need it for future promotional ads, and having Director Ma makes things much easier. That night, Tang Village was livelier than during the New Year. After dinner, everyone crowded into the Tang family home. Grandma Tang had already moved the TV to the village entrance, where there was more space. This was where movies were shown in the past. The antenna was set up on an old camphor tree, and Tang Jianshu adjusted the channel. The villagers brought their small stools and eagerly awaited this exciting moment. Usually, by 8 p.m., villagers would be in bed, but now they were all wide awake, showing no signs of sleepiness. "Quiet down, it's starting," the team leader shouted, and the noise stopped. The villagers stared intently at the TV. Music played, and then the scene of Tang Village in the morning appeared, instantly exciting the villagers. "That's me. I'm wearing a floral cotton jacket. I'm in it too. Xiaozhen, how did your stick cover my face?" "My face was blocked by Taohua's hand too. You can only see my hair." The women doing laundry were quite frustrated, but they were still happy. It was their first time on TV, and they could brag about it for days when they went home for the New Year. "My de Mao was on TV too. Haha, that little rascal looks pretty good on screen." "My Jiao Jin was on too, so handsome," Su Jinfeng said proudly. The images on the TV kept changing, and the deep voice of the narrator kept the villagers glued to the screen, not wanting to miss anything important. Old Lady Tang got 2 minutes of airtime, although Huang Zhaodi occasionally stole the spotlight. "Auntie, you looked great on TV. The wrinkles on your face disappeared. Zhaodi, your floral jacket looks amazing. You look 10 years younger." Everyone was envious, but also felt it was deserved. The TV station's visit was all thanks to Nian Girl, so it was only right for Old Lady Tang to be featured. Old Lady Tang and Huang Zhaodi sat up straight, their faces beaming with pride. After the 15 minutes ended, the villagers were still eager for more but knew it was impossible since the TV didn't have a replay function. Who would have thought Tang Village would be on TV? "We need to tell our ancestors during the New Year to make them happy." An elder sighed, his eyes misty. "Nian Girl deserves the most credit. Without her, we would still be living in hardship." Someone shouted. "Exactly, it's all thanks to Nian Girl." The others agreed. Everyone in the village supported this idea, and someone suggested that the captain nominate Tang Nian for the Labor Model Award, as each team had the right to recommend candidates. "Do you really need to tell me? I already submitted the nomination a long time ago. The results will be out next spring." The captain was very pleased. He had submitted it last month but hadn't told anyone. However, he was quite confident that Nian Girl would be selected. Old Lady Tang was almost grinning from ear to ear. Good things kept coming. She not only got a salary, but also appeared on TV. If only her husband could live a few more years. The poor man hadn't enjoyed any blessings. But Old Lady Tang didn't dwell on it for long. She was an open-minded person and thought perhaps her husband had been reborn into a wealthy family, living a good life. That night, the people of Tang Village stayed up late, so they all got up late the next day, lacking energy for work and yawning frequently. The news of Tang Village being on TV quickly spread throughout the county, and other villages were envious. This was the first village in the entire county to appear on TV. As a result, other teams rushed to visit Tang Village. The captain, unable to refuse, had to make arrangements. Nian Girl didn't care about these visits but had one request. It can't disrupt the workshop life and no grand displays. She remembered watching a movie where a village that started a farming economy got visits from officials every day. They came to guide and inspect, but within 6 months, the village was ruined because the animals couldn't even feed the visitors. So, she needed to take precautions to avoid the same fate. Shouldn't we prepare some decent dishes? It feels too shabby to serve just vegetables and radishes, the captain asked for advice. Are you planning to serve chicken, duck, fish, and meat? Nian Girl retorted. The captain smiled awkwardly. That was exactly what he was thinking. When the commune sent people to guide work in the past, he always served the best dishes. Now that conditions had improved, he didn't want the guests to eat poorly. Uncle San, there are 21 communes in Zhucheng. If one comes each day, it will take over half a month. Plus, there are other neighboring counties and provinces. Now that Tang Village is on TV, even more people will come to visit. If you prepare lavish meals, our village's factories won't be able to keep up. Nian Girl was straightforward. If it were up to her, she wouldn't welcome these visitors at all. The captain's smile faded as he realized the truth. He hurriedly said, Nian Girl, should I refuse them? You already agreed. If you refuse now, people will think Tang Village is stingy. Just let this one go. But next time, refuse anyone who wants to visit by saying the factory is busy. Nian Girl paused and couldn't help but say, Uncle San, do you know what your biggest problem is? What? The captain humbly asked for advice. You value personal connections too much and are too soft-hearted. In the future, discuss these matters with San Go and don't decide alone. Nian Girl didn't hold back. The captain had been soft-hearted too many times. The captain nodded awkwardly, promising, I won't decide on my own anymore. You can trust me, Nian Girl. He realized he was wrong this time, and Nian Girl's criticism was valid. He needed to learn from this and not make the same mistake again. The first group to visit was from the neighboring commune, sending about 10 representatives who arrived by tractor, men and women alike, all bundled up. The captain welcomed them at the village entrance and led them to the VIP room to warm up. After a cup of hot tea, everyone felt warm and went to tour the workshop. Lunch was at the captain's house, with not too many dishes. 1 meat and a few vegetables, along with sweet potato rice. The visitors thought it was still too grand, considering many people still couldn't afford meat, and the dishes had no oil. The sweet potato rice was quite watery. Being able to eat a full meal with meat was already a great condition. After sending off one group, another arrived the next day, followed by 5 more groups. The captain was exhausted, his legs trembling, finally understanding what Nian Girl meant. We must refuse. From now on, no matter who asks, just say no. The captain struggled to get out of bed, his back aching. Today, another group was coming to visit, and he was in charge of hosting. You brought this on yourself. Huang Zhaodi was also frustrated. She had to cook every time they came, and it was exhausting. This time we'll let it go, but if you bring anyone else back, I won't serve them. Huang Zhaodi made it clear. Now she was in charge of the straw fan project and considered herself a leader. Why should she always be the one cooking, wasting her precious time on these trivial matters? I won't bring anyone else. My back hurts too much. The captain rubbed his back. It was killing him. Counting today, there were 3 more groups left, and he would refuse any future visits. This time, the captain was determined. Even if the commune officials came to persuade him, it wouldn't work. Leader, I haven't done any work these days. I've been showing them around, and the factory work has been delayed, seriously affecting production. The latest batch of foreign exchange orders is due next week. If we can't deliver on time, we'll have to pay a penalty. The team leader had learned his lesson this time and exaggerated the situation while seeking advice from Tang Mantong and Tang Jianshu. Then let's wait until you're not busy to do the tour. Sure enough, when they heard it would affect foreign exchange orders, the commune officials stopped urging them. They couldn't afford the consequences of a breach of contract. After that, Tang Village became quiet, and the team leader felt refreshed. Tang Nianyan didn't get involved in this matter. She needed these people to learn to be independent. It was already 1977 with documents issued in October and exams in November. Once she went to Huqing, she wouldn't be staying in Tang Village often. She wouldn't manage the sock factory and the handicraft factory anymore. They would be handed over to the team leader and Tang Jianshu. After New Year's Day, time flew by. There was still some time before the Spring Festival, but the village was already filled with festive spirit. Every household was stocking up on New Year's goods. This year, everyone had made money, and the supplies were much more abundant than in previous years. Tang Village had a tradition of drying fish and salted meat. Even in tough times, they would dry some fish and salted meat to eat. This year, with money to spare, they naturally had even more, especially Grandma Tang. The Tang family's yard was filled with salted meat, sausages, dried fish, and soy sauce duck. 3 rows were drying. 1 row of salted meat and sausages, 1 row of dried fish, and 1 row of soy sauce duck. The air was filled with delicious smells. Grandma Tang had dried so much that anyone passing by would compliment her, greatly satisfying her vanity. Second aunt, your family has so much this year. Will you have enough to eat until summer? Not really, we eat a lot of meat, so it will last until spring at most. Every time someone passed by, they would ask this, and Grandma Tang would respond like this. With each exchange, her vanity grew, and she felt happy every day. The Tang family also made 2 full jars of rice cakes, soaking them in clean water and changing the water regularly to keep them fresh for several months. Tang Nianyan took some time to go to Huqing to collect her Outstanding Youth Award. It was just a certificate along with a book of quotes, a medal, and a pen. The other awardees were very emotional and teary-eyed. Only Tang Nianyan remained calm, feeling somewhat dissatisfied. Unlike others, she didn't value honor as much as she valued the monetary reward. Each awardee had to go on stage to give a speech. This part was quite interesting. Tang Nianyan, who had been yawning during the leaders' speeches, perked up a bit. THTH thank you to the party and the people. THTH thank you. The first to speak was a short, chubby man in his 30s, with a round head, short neck, thick waist, and short legs. He looked like a ball from any distance. Though he wasn't handsome and stuttered, he had a kind face that showed he was an honest man not good with words. His name was Yao Xinghua, an engineer from a machine tool factory in Huqing. He had worked his way up from the workshop to a key engineer, with several successful projects that had received positive feedback after being put into production. However, as soon as Yao Xinghua opened his mouth, laughter erupted from the audience. He became more flustered, and his stutter worsened, leading to even more laughter, creating a vicious cycle. After a few minutes, he hadn't finished a single sentence and was sweating profusely in the winter cold. A leader from the Ministry of Industry took the microphone and said sternly, "Please be quiet." The laughter immediately stopped, and everyone fell silent. "Comrade Yao, don't be nervous. Take your time." The leader looked at Yao Xinghua with a kind expression. Yao Xinghua smiled gratefully, wiped the sweat from his forehead, took a deep breath, and read his speech aloud. He stumbled a few times but became more fluent as he went on and finished successfully. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. Yao Xinghua sighed with relief, feeling like a heavy weight had been lifted off his shoulders. He vowed never to give a speech again if he received such an award in the future. He bowed to the audience and the leaders on stage, and hurriedly left the stage as if he had been pardoned. The 10 outstanding youth were seated together in the 5th row, with leaders from various departments in the front rows. As Yao Xinghua reached the 4th row, he suddenly stumbled and almost fell. Fortunately, he managed to grab a chair just in time to avoid embarrassment. A man sitting next to him had reached out to help but quickly withdrew his hand when Yao Xinghua steadied himself, scratching his head awkwardly. "It's fine." Yao Xinghua smiled at the man, but the man rolled his eyes and huffed, turning away. Yao Xinghua didn't pay it any mind and walked to his seat. His seat was in the middle of the 5th row, with Tang Nianyan sitting at the end, right behind the man who had tried to help Yao Xinghua. To her right sat a beautiful woman in her 30s, wearing a camel-colored wool coat. She had a slim figure, short hair, and a gentle demeanor. Tang Nianyan remembered her as a sample maker from a sock factory in Huqing. Her name was Yu Xiumin, and she was currently the best sample maker in Huqing, as the host had introduced her. "Excuse me, I need to get by." Yao Xinghua, short and chubby, found it a bit difficult to squeeze past, especially with several women looking embarrassed. "It's okay." Yu Xiumin smiled slightly, standing up to let Yao Xinghua through. "Thank you." Yao Xinghua smiled gratefully as he squeezed past her, but accidentally brushed his elbow against her. He instantly turned red. Before he could say anything, Yu Xiumin softly said, "Just go ahead." It was just a light touch. It wasn't intentional, so it was no big deal. Yao Xinghua glanced at her gratefully and hurriedly squeezed into his seat, letting out a long sigh, as if he had just fought a tough battle. Tang Nianyan found their interaction quite interesting. After two more people finished their speeches, it was Yu Xiumin's turn. When the host called her name, she stood up excitedly and walked past Tang Nianyan. Her coat looked old and didn't fit well. The sleeves were a bit short, revealing the sleeves of her wool sweater. Yu Xiumin rolled the sweater sleeves up a bit to match the coat, making it look better. Tang Nianyan glanced at her sleeves and thought that Yu Xiumin must not come from a wealthy family. That coat was at least 7 or 8 years old. Logically, Yu Xiumin's salary should be decent, so she shouldn't be living so frugally. Perhaps her family had some burdens. On a second look, she noticed the red spots on Yu Xiumin's wrist and several bruises. The red spots were clearly from needle pricks, and the bruises looked like they had been caused by squeezing, with several distinct marks. Tang Nianyan glanced at Yu Xiumin's other hand, and sure enough, there were also small red spots and bruises on that wrist. Yu Xiumin seemed to sense her gaze, tugged at her sleeves, left her seat, and walked to the stage. After giving her acceptance speech and bowing, she returned to her seat and immediately pulled down her sweater sleeves to cover the scars on her hands. Tang Nianyan frowned slightly. These injuries were clearly self-inflicted. Could they be from Yu Xiumin's husband? The next speaker is Comrade Tang Nianyan to give her acceptance speech. The host announced. Tang Nianyan had to stop her speculation and walked up to the stage. She was the youngest among the 10 awardees and gave the shortest speech. "Thank you to the party, the people, and the chairman, and thanks to the leaders of various departments in Huqing for their support and guidance. I will continue to work hard and achieve even better results." Tang Nianyan said a brief sentence, bowed and left the stage, taking less than a minute in total. The host was momentarily stunned and quickly invited the next person to ease the awkward atmosphere. The audience looked at Tang Nianyan in surprise, thinking she must have a special background. Otherwise, how could she win an award and speak so confidently? Tang Nianyan maintained a cool expression, sitting straight and ignoring the curious looks around her, exuding an air that kept people at a distance. She must have a powerful background. Everyone thought the same. Someone without support couldn't act so confidently. After the award ceremony, many people approached Tang Nianyan to get close to her, either to learn more about her or to make connections for future use. Tang Nianyan wasn't very enthusiastic. She was only interested in 2 people at the event, Yao Xinghua and Yu Xiumin.
Because she wanted to poach talent.
Yao Xinghua was taking workers from the machine factory, and Yu Xiumin was taking workers from the sock factory. Although the sock factory in Tang Village was thriving and profitable, and Xian Jinju had recruited a sample maker from the original factory, the maker's skills were too ordinary, and Tang Nianyan was not satisfied. Her goal was to make the sock factory bigger and stronger, which required hiring the best sample maker, and Yu Xiumin fit the bill. Tang Nianyan's gaze followed these two, and when Yao Xinghua and Yu Xiumin left the venue, she quickly wrapped up her conversation and followed them outside. "Yao Xinghua, you useless fool. What are you still doing alive? If I were you, I would grab a knife and deal with those 2 cheating scoundrels right now." Outside the auditorium was a parking shed, and there weren't many people around. Most were still inside chatting. Yao Xinghua was stopped by a man, the same guy who had tripped him earlier, and his tone was filled with disappointment. "You misunderstood Yang Hui. She's not that kind of person." Yao Xinghua's honest face darkened. Yang Hui was his wife, and he didn't like hearing others slander her. Humph. Only a fool like you would treat a worn-out shoe as a treasure. Everyone in your factory knows Yang Hui is a worn-out shoe. She was already with Meng Xingmin before marrying you. You still think she's a gem? You're just a useless coward, and you've embarrassed all men. The man grew more agitated, raising his voice and hitting Yao Xinggua's head several times.
You. Don't say that.
Lao Chao, if you keep slandering Yang Hui, we can't be friends anymore. An angry Yao Xinghua stuttered, his face turning red and his eyes bulging, looking a bit frightening. Who would want to be friends with a coward like you? Get lost. If you want to wear a green hat, go ahead. I won't care about you anymore, you coward. Chao Ziqing pushed his friend away and glared at him before walking off. He regretted being friends with someone like Yao Xinghua. Even if Yao Xinghua ended up with a family of his own, he wouldn't get involved again. Yao Xinghua opened his mouth to call out to his friend, but ultimately said nothing. He sighed, planning to wait a few days for Chao Ziqing to cool down before having a proper talk. Yang Hui was really not that kind of person. Chao Ziqing was misunderstanding too much. Tang Niannian stood openly in the parking shed, so engrossed in listening that she didn't notice she was blocking others. Beside her, Yu Xiumin looked awkward, wanting to remind the girl to move but hesitating, as she seemed intimidating. Chao Ziqing stormed out of the woods, not even glancing at them, and rode off on his bike. Then Yao Xinghua came out, looking a bit embarrassed when he saw them. Tang Niannian smiled at him and quickly walked off to catch up with Chao Ziqing. This guy should know a lot of inside information which would help her in her plans. Yu Xiumin felt even more awkward and hurriedly rode away, feeling sympathy for Yao Xinghua. If friends spoke so confidently, it usually wasn't false. This man was likely wearing a green hat. She sighed, thinking that good men couldn't find good wives and good women couldn't find good husbands. The matchmaker always loved to play tricks, causing so many unhappy couples. Tang Niannian ran to a secluded spot, took out her bicycle, and quickly caught up with Chao Ziqing. "Comrade, you dropped your money," Tang Niannian called out, and Chao Ziqing immediately braked, looking down to search. "I was mistaken. It's just some trash." Tang Niannian caught up, kicking the trash away, and Chao Ziqing looked disappointed as he prepared to leave. "You're Yao Xinggua's friend, right? Would you like to see him stand up and divorce while punishing those cheating scoundrels?" Tang Niannian asked directly. Chao Ziqing, just about to ride away, was startled and almost fell, looking at her suspiciously. He remembered this girl didn't seem to know Yao Xinghua. 10 minutes later, the two sat in a quiet tea house. Tang Niannian treated him generously, ordering a pot of Longjing tea, rice cakes, and shrimp noodles, filling the table. Chao Ziqing's expression grew more serious. There must be a reason for her kindness. What did this woman want? "Comrade Chao, have some tea." Tang Niannian poured him a cup of Longjing and placed the shrimp noodles in front of him. The shrimp noodles here are delicious, and the rice cakes are good too. She had been here a few times with Xin Xiao and loved the shrimp noodles and ham rice cakes. Xin Xiao enjoyed desserts like sugar cakes and London cakes, always ordering them. Chao Ziqing thought for a moment and decided to eat freely. It was free food after all. After he finished eating, Tang Niannian had also finished her shrimp noodles and rice cakes. She wiped her mouth and asked, "Do you have evidence of Yao Xinggua's wife cheating?"
No.
Chao Ziqing paused, feeling frustrated. "If I had evidence, I would have shown it to that fool Yao Xinghua already. Without evidence, no matter how loudly you shout, it won't matter." Tang Niannian thought Yao Xinghua was right to defend his wife. Catching a cheater required more than just words. "I can't deceive him. We're brothers." Chao Ziqing was so angry that he couldn't even eat his pastry. The more he thought about it, the more furious he became. He had advised Yao Xinghua not to marry Yang Hui. That woman was restless when she was single, and after marriage, Yao would definitely be the one getting cheated on. Sure enough, Yao Xinghua was now in a green situation. Brothers are like clothes, while wives are like family. Tang Niannian casually remarked that without evidence, a brother who slanders his wife could be discarded like old clothes. Chao Ziqing was taken aback, feeling something was off about her words, but he was too angry to think clearly. "Do you know who Yang Hui's lover is?" Tang Niannian asked. If that woman was having an affair, she could find out easily. "It's that jerk Meng Xingmin, who works in the same unit as Yao Xinghua." That pretty boy used to date Yang Hui, but her family disapproved, so she married Yao. Chao Zicheng said angrily. Why did they disapprove? Meng Xingmin's father died when he was young, leaving only a poor widowed mother, Chao Zicheng scoffed. Yang Hui's parents were materialistic and definitely wouldn't approve of the marriage. Yang Hui didn't want to live a hard life, so she married Yao Xinghua, but now these two were still entangled with each other. Tang Nian nodded, understanding that this made things easier. Let's go. She stood up and left. She had already paid for the snacks and needed to hurry to investigate Yang Hui and Meng Xingmin to bring Yao Xinghua over soon. Are you not taking these? Chao Zicheng called out. There were still many snacks left on the table. Tang Nian had already walked far away and didn't respond. Chao Zicheng finished his tea and packed up the snacks, feeling anxious about whether telling Tang Nian this was right or wrong. Whatever, the fact that Yang Hui was having an affair wasn't a secret in the factory. Only that fool Yao was still in the dark, treating that woman like a treasure. The more Chao Zicheng thought about it, the angrier he got. He and Yao Xinghua had argued many times over Yang Hui, and their brotherhood had been damaged. Just now, he really wanted to trip that fool. Maybe it would wake him up. In just one afternoon, Tang Nian gathered most of the information about Meng Xingmin and Yang Hui. Meng Xingmin was an ordinary technician at the machine tool factory, clean and polite, wearing glasses. Although he was in his 30s, he was still single. His gentle yet melancholic scholar vibe made him quite popular in the factory, with many young women having crushes on him. As for Yang Hui, she was the warehouse keeper at the machine tool factory. Her job was easy, and she was considered the factory's beauty in her youth. Though she had a child now and wasn't as young, she had gained more charm and still held her title. After spending another half-day, Tang Nian learned that Yao Xinghua's position in the factory was a bit awkward. He was very skilled but had a dull personality, lacking social skills and only focusing on his work, like a hard-working ox. Such employees were favored by private business owners, but not in state-owned enterprises. Leaders in these organizations preferred smooth talkers. It didn't matter if they could work, as long as they could flatter. Yao Xinghua had been nominated for the Outstanding Youth Award for 4 consecutive years, with high votes, and logically should have won. However, he was replaced in the previous 3 years for various reasons by those with connections. This year, he wasn't replaced because the leadership had changed to a more practical one, allowing genuine talents to have a chance, and the connections were eliminated. Even if he won the award, he still struggled in the workplace. For instance, despite completing many projects independently, he remained an assistant engineer and hadn't even been promoted to a full engineer. The salary difference between an assistant engineer and a full engineer was significant, and the projects assigned to Yao Xinghua were leftovers. He appeared indifferent, but how could he truly not care about such thankless work? Perhaps Yao Xinghua knew that opposing it wouldn't help. The leaders wouldn't give him good projects anyway, so it was better to accept the unfair arrangements. Tang Nian felt much more confident. As long as she could catch evidence of Yang Hui and Meng Xingmin's affair, her chances of successfully stealing Yao Xinghua away were high. With an unsatisfactory job and family life, Yao Xinghua had nothing going well at the machine tool factory. It would be better for him to work at her factory. At 2 in the afternoon, the weather was nice. After gathering information all day, Tang Nian's throat was dry, so she hurried home to rest. As soon as she entered the yard, Aunt Zhang excitedly said, "I was just looking for you. The fox you asked me to watch definitely has something going on with that pretty boy. I can't be wrong. Did you see them together?" Tang Nian made herself a cup of tea and grabbed a biscuit. How could they be together during the day? You can tell by their looks if they're involved. You're young and don't understand, but I know this stuff well. I've been watching them closely. Those two have definitely been together for years, and their gazes are practically glued. Aunt Zhang was adamant that Yang Hui and Meng Xingmin were having an affair. Tang Nian shook her head. No matter how good you are at this, we need proof. We must catch them in the act. Keep an eye on them, and if they do sleep together, take a picture. She had already taught Aunt Zhang how to use the camera. She needed to watch Xiumin, so she couldn't do both. Aunt Zhang was clever, and would surely handle it well. Don't worry. If they sleep together, I'll get the picture. Aunt Zhang confidently promised, excited about being entrusted with this task for the first time. She had to do well, otherwise, how could she justify such an easy job? Living alone in such a big house, with a monthly salary of 20, plus living expenses separately, the owner never bothered her. Living here was more comfortable than at home, where she had a nasty mother-in-law who constantly scolded her. Seeing Tang Nian still munching on biscuits, Aunt Zhang smacked her forehead in frustration and hurried to the kitchen to cook noodles. Stop eating the biscuits. I'll make noodles. It'll be ready soon. She really should have been more considerate and not let the owner go hungry. Make extra and fry 3 eggs. Tang Nian called out, feeling very hungry. Aunt Zhang's noodles were especially chewy and delicious.
Got it.
Aunt Zhang quickly prepared the dough, and while it rested, she stir-fried some meat. In just half an hour, a big bowl of fragrant noodles was ready, topped with 3 golden fried eggs and a generous serving of stir-fried wood-ear mushrooms and mincemeat, along with finely sliced cucumbers. It looked and smelled amazing. Delicious. Tang Nian took a big bite and praised it before digging in. Aunt Zhang grinned. There's more in the pot. She loved how Tang Nian ate so heartily. She was pretty and straightforward, truly a good girl. Aunt Zhang even thought about helping out if Tang Nian and Xin Xiao got married and had kids. She didn't want to go back home. Living outside was much more comfortable. After finishing 2 bowls of noodles, Tang Nian rested for a bit before heading out with Aunt Zhang. She would watch Yu Xiumin while Aunt Zhang kept an eye on Meng Xingmin and Yang Hui, planning to meet up at home in the evening. Safety first. If someone finds out, just run. Tang Nian reminded, worried that Aunt Zhang might get hurt. Don't worry, I'm good at this. Aunt Zhang's eyes sparkled. She had experience in catching cheating partners and was confident she could do it without a sound. Tang Nian wasn't too worried. Although Aunt Zhang seemed honest and simple, she was quite clever. Surviving for over a decade in the battle of wits against the Shin family and Fu Bailan showed her abilities. After they parted ways, Tang Nian rode directly to the family building of the sock factory, where Yu Xiumin lived. Yu Xiumin was also married. Her husband was a mechanic at the textile factory. They had only one daughter, who was 6 years old. Both parents worked, so logically they shouldn't be living so poorly. However, her husband, Fan Zhong, was from the countryside and had a heavy family burden. He had to send money home every month. Yu Xiumin was from the city, and her family was average, unable to provide much support, but she had no burdens. Clearly, Fan Zhong was dragging her down. Yu Xiumin's home was on the first floor, just 1 room, and they cooked outside. As night fell, the building became lively as everyone prepared dinner. Yu Xiumin picked up her daughter from school, bought groceries, and started cooking. Fan Zhong returned as well. He wasn't very tall but had a strong build, clearly used to physical labor. His work clothes were stained with oil. As soon as he got home, he took them off and tossed them in the outside bin, gruffly saying, "Wash them properly."
Got it.
Yu Xiumin replied, soaking the clothes in water and applying some soap, planning to wash them after dinner. Her daughter, who had been playing inside, came out to watch her mother cook as soon as Fan Zhong arrived. "It's cold outside, Tian, come inside," Yu Xiumin gently urged, worried about her daughter's recent cough. The little girl shook her head, refusing to go in. She didn't like her father, who always glared at her and hit her mother. She hated him, as well as her grandparents and uncles. There was no one she liked. Yu Xiumin sighed, understanding her daughter's feelings. She didn't push further and hurried to finish cooking. The evening meal was simple: stir-fried vegetables, a fried egg, and some tofu. She set the dishes on the table, but before she could close the door, Fan Zhong shouted, "Why is it tofu again? Where's the money? Did you spend it on your lover? Lower your voice. Don't you know where the money went? Last month, I sent 50 to your parents, and this month, I sent 40. We don't even have money for Tian's medical expenses." Yu Xiumin quickly shut the door, quietly defending herself. Fan Zhong's family was like a bottomless pit, always needing money for one reason or another. Either his father was sick, his mother fell, or there were issues with his siblings. Over the years of marriage, Fan Zhong had sent almost all his salary home, while Yu Xiumin's salary was what they lived on. Even the money he spent on cigarettes and treats came from her. Fan Zhong slammed his hand on the table, causing Tian Tian to shiver and lower her head to eat, not even touching the vegetables, just eating plain rice. My parents worked hard to raise me. Do you have a problem with me supporting them? You handle the money at home, but do you even know where it goes? It must be going to your lover. Don't think I don't know. You didn't even have a proper wedding. You were already not a pure girl. I must have been blind to marry you and have a daughter who's a burden. You can't even give me a son. Fan Zhong's insults grew harsher. Tang Nian Nian, hiding nearby, clenched her fists, wishing she could do something to stop this man. Don't say these things in front of Tian Tian, Fan Zhong. Be reasonable. I've told you countless times that my bike accident caused this. The doctor has told you too. Why do you keep bringing this up? And your salary, I've never seen a penny of it. We live off my pay.
Slap.
The sound of a slap interrupted Yu Xiumin's words. It was Fan Zhong, furious. Yu Xiumin's thin body was knocked back, hitting the cabinet, and pain shot through her lower back, making it hard for her to stand. Mommy. Tian Tian rushed over, supporting her mother and crying. Who are you pretending for? You and the doctor are in cahoots. The bike accident is all nonsense. You're just a loose woman.
Who knows whose child this is?
I'm so unlucky to have married you. Fan Zhong's rage boiled over as he punched and kicked Yu Xiumin, not caring if their daughter was scared. Yu Xiumin shielded her daughter, enduring the beating in silence. But her stubbornness only angered Fan Zhong more, and he hit her harder. If you think Tian Tian isn't your daughter, then let's get a divorce. Yu Xiumin could tolerate humiliation, but not when this man insulted her daughter. She proposed divorce. But just like countless times before, the word divorce enraged Fan Zhong. He took off his belt, his expression twisted, and he struck her with all his might. I won't let you have it easy. If we divorce, you think you can go find your lover? I won't let you have your way. You'll die in my house. After several strikes, Fan Zhong was out of breath. Yu Xiumin's face turned pale from the pain, and her mouth was filled with blood, but she still didn't say a word. Because she knew that even if she cried for help, no one would stand up for her. Instead, she would be ridiculed. When she went back to her parents to cry, they wouldn't allow her to divorce, saying that a man's temper was normal and that she should endure it. Women have to go through this. Her brother also opposed the divorce, worried that she would come back and take over their house, seeing her as a burden. She sought help from the Women's Federation at her factory, but they only mediated. In front of them, Fan Zhong acted very obediently, even crying and saying he felt wronged, claiming she was cheating, and giving him a green hat. He made it sound so convincing that even the Federation believed him. After all, no man would willingly wear a green hat. Fan Zhong hit her at home and spoke harshly, but outside, he was praised as a good person. He was helpful and kind, always lending a hand when someone needed it. Not only was he a good worker at the textile factory, but he was also seen as a great man in the sock factory community. Everyone said Yu Xiumin was lucky to have married him. Yu Xiumin had no way to defend herself. Fan Zhong was particularly cunning. The injuries he gave her were in hidden places. When she showed her wounds to the Federation, Fan Zhong claimed he was just too frustrated and lost control after drinking. In front of the Federation members, Fan Zhong even swore he would never hit her again. They believed him and advised her to care more for her husband and not let him feel wronged. Yu Xiumin had no one to turn to. She was the victim, yet she was treated like the perpetrator. It was her fault that Fan Zhong hit her. If he killed her, people would probably think she deserved it. Fan Zhong took a break before continuing to whip the belt. After all, this woman's reputation was already ruined. Everyone knew she was unfaithful. He was the one who was truly pitiful, and even if he hit her hard, no one would care. He raised the belt high, but before he could bring it down, his elbow went numb, and he dropped the belt on the floor. Confused, Fan Zhong picked up the belt and switched hands to strike again, but his elbow went numb once more, and the belt fell again. After 3 times, Fan Zhong began to feel scared. He looked around, thinking there must be something in the room. Otherwise, why would his hand suddenly go numb? Yu Xiumin had her eyes closed, waiting for a long time without feeling the belt. When she opened her eyes, she saw Fan Zhong's terrified face, sweating as he scanned the room. The atmosphere in the room was filled with fear. Yu Xiumin felt relieved. No matter the reason, as long as Fan Zhong stopped, it was fine. If he kept hitting her, she wouldn't be able to go to work the next day. I'll teach you a lesson later. Fan Zhong searched for a while, finding nothing in the room. He cursed angrily and went to eat. After a long day of work, he was starving. Even tofu would do. He would eat well before teaching that woman a lesson. Yu Xiumin endured the pain in her body and stood up, sending her daughter to eat. She had no appetite and planned to go outside to wash clothes. If she didn't clean the dirty laundry, Fan Zhong would surely explode with anger.
Mom, eat.
Tian pulled her mother, her big eyes full of concern. Mom must be in pain, yet she still had to work. She hated her dad. Why doesn't he just die? In class, Xiaoming's dad was hit by a car on his way to work and died. Xiaoming cried every day, and she thought at that moment, if only it could be switched, let the car hit her dad and save Xiaoming's dad. That way, Xiaoming would be happy, and she and her mom would be happy too. Seeing her daughter's fear, Yu Xiumin sat down to eat with her. She couldn't swallow a bite, just waiting for her daughter to finish before going to wash clothes. Outside, it was completely dark. Tang Nian stood up, stomped her numb feet, but felt great. She was sure she could dig out Yu Xiumin from this corner. At 8 o'clock in the evening, many lights in the family building went out early due to the cold. Yu Xiumin was still outside washing clothes, taking breaks often. Her injuries hurt too much to use much strength, and the winter water was icy, forcing her to rub her hands together for warmth. Fan Zhong drank a lot of alcohol that night and went to bed after dinner, snoring loudly, which made Yu Xiumin feel relieved. She truly wished he would stay drunk from morning till night so that she and her daughter could have an easier life. Outside, only Yu Xiumin was there when Tang Nian walked over and patted her shoulder. Who? Yu Xiumin jumped, barely recognizing her in the dim streetlight. Her expression turned to surprise. Comrade, do you need something from me? It's urgent. Come this way. Tang Nian pulled her inside. It was freezing outside. I still need to wash clothes. If you have something to say, just say it. Yu Xiumin felt cautious. She and Tang Nian had only met twice. Why was she looking for her at night? Do you want to take your daughter and leave your husband? Tang Nian asked directly, adding, I have a way to help you successfully get away from Fan Zhong, and he won't bother you and your daughter anymore. Yu Xiumin's expression changed slightly, and her heart raced. Could she really get a divorce? Why are you helping me? There's a sock factory in our village looking for a senior sample maker. If I help you, you can work at our factory. The pay and benefits will definitely be better than your current job, and you can get away from Fan Zhong. Tang Nian was straightforward. Yu Xiumin hesitated. Her current job was at a state-owned factory, and moving to a village-run business felt like a step down. But she desperately wanted a divorce. Living like this was worse than death. Can you really help me? I've tried to get a divorce before, but it never worked. He's very good at acting. Yu Xiumin was skeptical. How could divorce be that easy? Fan Zhong wouldn't agree. Your way won't work. I can guarantee it will be done. Do you really want to spend your life with such a disgusting man? It's not just you who suffers. Your daughter is affected too. Haven't you noticed she already has psychological scars? Living in this environment will greatly impact her character and growth. Many juvenile offenders come from such families. Tang Nian was a bit exaggerated, but it was true. Children raised in violent households often have character flaws, and many end up on a path to crime, which is backed by scientific data. Yu Xiumin's expression changed dramatically. She could endure her own suffering, but her daughter must not be harmed. I agree. As long as you can help me get away from Fan Zhong, I'll work at your factory. Yu Xiumin no longer hesitated. Regardless of whether Tang Nian was telling the truth, she decided to take a chance. Because Tang Nian was the only person willing to help her in all these years. And she instinctively felt that Tang Nian could truly help her. This beautiful girl had a convincing aura. Yu Xiaomin was fed up with her current life. She was willing to gamble. Do you want Fan Zhong to live or be in limbo? Or do you want to be a widow? Tang Nian asked sincerely. Her method for dealing with Fan Zhong depended on Yu Xiaomin's attitude. Yu Xiaomin was startled and shook her head vigorously. Don't do anything illegal. Just get him to divorce me. What about sending him to a mental hospital? Tang Nian thought of the two patients, Shun Xiao and her, who said they wanted to get those patients out to help her. She didn't agree. She preferred them to stay in the mental hospital and live happily. However, she had bribed the hospital director, significantly improving the patient's quality of life. She realized that having them work for her didn't require them to be released. It was more suitable for them to stay in the mental hospital. Yu Xiaomin's eyes lit up. Sending him to a mental hospital? Could it really work? Let's do it. Send Fan Zhong to a mental hospital. Tang Nian turned to leave. She had work to do. Wait, can we keep the mental hospital thing discreet? I don't want outsiders to know. I'm worried it will affect Tian. Yu Xiaomin felt a bit embarrassed. She was asking for too much. But she feared that when Tian grew up and started dating, if people found out she had a father in a mental hospital, it would definitely have an impact. Sure, just say Fan Zhong is unwell and went back home to recuperate. Tang Nian readily agreed. It was no trouble for her. Yu Xiaomin nodded, feeling a sudden sense of clarity and hope for the future. She curiously asked, how do you plan to do it? You'll see soon. No matter who asks, just say Fan Zhong is an alcoholic with a bad temper who gets violent over small matters. Your injuries will show how cruel he is and that he might even harm outsiders. You need to make everyone aware that Fan Zhong is a volatile person who is also a good actor. Tang Nian instructed her a few more times, and Yu Xiaomin nodded, knowing what to do. Yu Xiaomin was stunned to see Tang Nian swaggering into her house. She was surprised at first, but quickly reacted and followed her inside, closing the door behind her. Fan Zhong was snoring on the bed, and the room was filled with a foul smell of alcohol. On the small bed beside him, Tian was curled up and asleep. Even in her sleep, Tian's little face was wrinkled, and her brows were tightly knit, looking troubled. Yu Xiaomin felt a sharp pain in her heart. She finally understood that Tang Nian's words were not just exaggerations. If she continued to live with a disgusting man like Fan Zhong, her daughter could be ruined. Yu Xiaomin made up her mind. Even if Tang Nian's plan failed, she would find a way to take her daughter away. Tang Nian took out a hallucinogen, a new product from the future that could induce brief hallucinations. Whatever someone thought would appear real, leading them to act foolishly. The drug lasted about 15 minutes, enough time for Fan Zhong to lose it. Tang Nian easily lifted Fan Zhong, opened the door, and threw him outside. He was only wearing thin sweats and quickly woke up from the cold, ready to curse, but a spray hit him, and soon his expression turned dazed. On Fan Zhong's confused face appeared a lewd smile as he saw a beautiful woman, the factory's flower, waving at him and smiling seductively. Fan Zhong acted honest and simple at work, but in reality, he was like a rat in a sewer, secretly watching the beautiful women and fantasizing about disgusting things at night. Especially the factory's flower, whom he fantasized about almost every day. Fan Ge, come here. The factory flower was no longer cold, but very enthusiastic. Fan Zhong drooled, eagerly rushing toward the beauty. Yu Xiaomin's eyes widened in disbelief. How could this happen? She looked at Tang Nian in shock, wondering how she did it. At that moment, Fan Zhong had already taken off his clothes and was running under the streetlight, treating the pole as the factory flower. Tang Nian watched expressionlessly for a moment, then kicked a broken basin at the door, which crashed against the wall with a loud noise. Who is it? A light turned on in one room, and a figure appeared, getting dressed. Get inside, Tang Nian said, pulling Yu Xiaomin inside and closing the door. Creak, a door opened next door, followed by a man's suspicious voice. Who is making noise in the middle of the night? Kicking my basin? I needed to plant some dirt and grow green onions. Yu Xiumin recognized the voice. It was Master Hua from next door. Although he was a man, he could cook, do laundry, clean, knit, and sew better than many women. His wife didn't have to do any work, and even at nearly 40, she looked like a young girl. Many people at the factory said Master Hua was effeminate, but Yu Xiumin envied his wife. Marrying a man like that was true happiness. Hey, who is moving around up there? Master Hua noticed the shadow under the streetlight and curiously walked over, adjusting his glasses to see better. Who is making such a racket at this hour? It's past 3, and it's so noisy, I can't sleep. A woman's voice followed, sounding very angry. Yu Xiumin recognized this woman. She was known as a fierce wife in the building, keeping her husband in line and very vocal, not only spreading news, but also exaggerating it. A small snake, when told by her, would turn into a giant python. Yu Xiumin couldn't help but laugh. Even heaven wouldn't let Fan Zhong off easy with this loudmouth around. Footsteps approached outside, and the loudmouth came out, filled with anger. Master Hua, who is messing around in the middle of the night. The loudmouth saw Master Hua and shouted. I can't see clearly. It looks like Master Fan, but I'm not sure. Master Hua's tone was uncertain, it was cold, and his glasses were fogged, making everything look blurry. The loudmouth walked over, and although the streetlight was dim, it still illuminated things well. Her eyesight was good enough to see clearly. Oh my, who is so shameless, running around without clothes at this hour.
Ugh.
The loudmouth covered her eyes and cursed, her fingers wide apart. Fan Zhong heard her voice, suddenly turned, and lunged at her, holding her tightly. Perverted scoundrel, I'll kill you. How dare you take advantage of me? Lao Cui, where are you? Your wife is about to be bullied to death by a pervert. The loudmouth struggled desperately, hitting Fan Zhong, but even she couldn't overpower him. Her screams woke up everyone in the building. The fastest runner was her timid husband, rushing over with a kitchen knife. Seeing his wife being taken advantage of, his eyes blazed with fury as he charged at Fan Zhong, ready to kill him. Master Hua also came to help, and other residents woke up. When they saw the situation, they thought a real pervert was attacking, and they grabbed whatever they could to help. With so many people, they quickly subdued Fan Zhong. The effects of the drug were still strong, and he howled like a dog. This is so embarrassing. How could Master Fan be like this? You really can't judge a person by their appearance. Quick, go get Yu Xiumin and find him some clothes. This is so shameful. Everyone recognized Fan Zhong and couldn't believe it. The man everyone praised as good was actually such a disgusting pervert. But the evidence was right in front of them, and their expressions turned to disdain and fear. Fan Zhong clearly seemed mentally unstable. Living next to someone like him felt like having a ticking time bomb nearby. Who knew when it would explode? Does Master Fan have a problem with his mind? He doesn't seem very bright. Of course he has a problem. No wonder I felt he was creepy the first time I saw him. He's not someone easy to get along with. You all didn't believe me and insisted he was a good man, huh? He usually seems fine, but who knew he had hidden mental issues? It's terrifying. Luckily, he acted up tonight. Otherwise, he would have been like a ticking time bomb, dangerous to everyone. Everyone nodded in agreement. They definitely didn't want a mentally unstable neighbor. Mentally ill people can kill without punishment, and they couldn't handle that. Yu Xiumin had been hiding behind the door, listening to the discussions, and her smile grew wider, feeling immense admiration for Tang Yinyan. She had managed to label Fan Zhong as mentally ill in one move. So impressive. Yu Xiumin, get up. Your Master Fan has gone crazy. Someone knocked hard on the door, waking Tian Tian, who trembled and cried, Mommy. The little girl thought her dad was hitting her mom again. In the past, when she woke up suddenly at night, she saw her mom curled up in pain in the dark, while her dad held a needle, poking her mom repeatedly. She tried to save her mom, but her dad slapped her, and then her mom protected her. Tian Tian couldn't remember the details clearly. She only remembered her dad being very fierce, her mom in great pain, that cold, shining needle, and the pitch-black night, all of which terrified her. "Don't be afraid. Mommy is here." Yu Xiumin picked up her daughter, feeling overwhelmed with guilt. After being reminded by Tang Niannian, she realized her daughter had already suffered greatly. She felt so useless. "Xiumin, get up. Your Fanzhong is acting crazy." Someone outside called again, knocking even harder on the door. "I'm coming." Yu Xiumin turned on the light, pretended to get dressed, and after a while, opened the door, sleepily asking what happened. "Fanzhong is going crazy. Get him a blanket. He's embarrassing himself." Yu Xiumin looked confused but obediently grabbed a blanket and went out. When she saw Fanzhong lying on the ground, she was shocked. How did Lao Fan end up outside? What happened? Tang Niannian, hiding inside, silently gave a thumbs up. She was impressed. She liked women who were quick to react and had strong learning abilities. They were worth helping. Those who couldn't improve would be left to their fate. Fanzhong stopped struggling. The effects of the medication had worn off, and he felt very cold. He recalled many painful memories, and the medicine Tang Niannian sprayed on him allowed him to remember everything, like watching a replay. He was surrounded by many people, their gazes piercing him like knives. Fanzhong tightly closed his eyes, afraid to open them, pretending to be unconscious. Yu Xiumin couldn't manage him alone, so Teacher Hua and a few other helpful men carried Fanzhong back home and laid him on the bed. Throughout, Fanzhong never opened his eyes. "Xiaoyu, what's wrong with your master Fan? Running around outside at this hour, he just bullied Xiao Ma." Thankfully, nothing serious happened. "What's going on?" An older woman shook her head as she spoke. She was a Women's Federation officer from the sock factory and had previously mediated conflicts between Fanzhong and Yu Xiumin, so she knew a bit about their situation. "I said before, he's not a good person. He has mental issues. When he drinks, he goes crazy and doesn't treat me like a human. He even hit Tian. You all didn't believe me and said he was a good comrade." Yu Xiumin's expression was mocking. It's easy to criticize when you're not the one suffering. She had been the only one tormented before. These people were unaffected, so they could easily speak without feeling the pain. Now that Fanzhong had done something so shameless, touching everyone's interests, they couldn't hold back anymore. The Women's Federation officer looked embarrassed and tried to justify it. He never acted like this before. Who could have seen he was this kind of person? Maybe his condition has worsened. "Xiaoyu, you should take him to the hospital." "I've already taken him. The doctor said there's no cure, it will only get worse, and he might even kill someone in the future." Yu Xiumin casually made up a lie. The Women's Federation officer turned pale with fear, and several neighbors nearby were also frightened by her words. Fanzhong, pretending to be unconscious on the bed, was so angry he jumped up, but he forgot he wasn't wearing clothes. When he jumped out of bed, he was completely exposed, startling the Women's Federation officer, who quickly turned away. Feeling the cold air, Fanzhong realized he was naked and quickly wrapped himself in the blanket, angrily lunging at Yu Xiumin. "You're talking nonsense and slandering me. Where did I get a mental illness? It's you, you wretched woman, who's ruining me." In his irrational state, Fanzhong didn't care about the people around him, raising his fist to hit Yu Xiumin, shouting obscenities. The onlookers couldn't stand it anymore and frowned. "Master Fan, calm down. Don't be impulsive." Teacher Hua and a few men pulled Fanzhong away, but they looked down on him. Only a weak man would take out his anger on his wife. They never realized he was this kind of person. "Let me go. I'm going to kill this wretched woman." Fanzhong roared like a beast, his fierce demeanor showing, making the neighbors shake their heads in disappointment. Their impression of him fell to an all-time low. Yu Xiumin, scared, ran out of the room holding her daughter, saying his mental illness is getting worse. The doctor told him not to drink, but he doesn't listen. He drinks every day and more. The doctor said if he keeps this up, he will definitely kill someone. "You're full of crap. I'm not sick. It's you who's ruining me." Fanzhong struggled desperately, and the men almost couldn't hold him down. In the struggle, his blanket fell off, leaving him exposed again, but he didn't realize it, still thrashing like a trapped beast, looking somewhat mentally unstable. The neighbors, who initially believed only 7 parts of the story, were now completely convinced. This kind of behavior definitely indicated a mental illness. A normal person wouldn't act like this. Fan Zhong caused a scene for a full hour, and finally, the neighbors could take no more. They knocked him out with a stick, exhausted from the ordeal and deeply resentful of him. Xiao Yu, it's dawn. You need to take him to the hospital. This can't go on. We can't even rest. We didn't sleep well all night, and we'll be exhausted for work tomorrow. With Fan Zhong's mental illness being this severe, it's better to send him to a mental hospital. Living in the family building like this is too frightening for all of us. Of course we're scared. Mentally ill people can kill without punishment. Xiao Yu, you should really send Master Fan to the mental hospital. This is too scary. The neighbors all chimed in, urging Yu Xiumin to send Fan Zhong to a mental hospital. The speed of their consensus surprised even Tang Nianyan. She had originally planned to take 3 days to drive Fan Zhong to madness, but she accomplished it in one night. The neighbors were truly on her side. Yu Xiumin glanced at the unconscious Fan Zhong, tears in her eyes, and apologized. I'm sorry for causing trouble. I will take him to the hospital tomorrow to see what the doctor says. The doctor will definitely recommend he be locked up. Master Fan already shows violent tendencies. It's serious. He must be confined. The neighbors spoke with certainty. They didn't want to live in the same building as a mentally unstable person. Yu Xiumin repeatedly assured them that she would go to the hospital at dawn, and only then did the neighbors go home. There was a sound at the back window. It was Tang Nianyan. Yu Xiumin rushed to the windowsill and heard her say, "Tomorrow morning, take people to Lanting Psychiatric Hospital. If anyone asks, just say Fan Zhong's hometown is there, and it's more convenient to take care of him. Bring his medical records from work, sell your job, and finalize the divorce." Okay. Yu Xiumin remembered every word and didn't ask more questions. She would do exactly as Tang Nianyan said. Let's meet at 8 a.m. on Zhongsong Road. Tang Nianyan closed the window and quickly disappeared into the darkness. Yu Xiumin looked at the man lying unconscious on the bed, feeling an unprecedented sense of relief. She regretted her past weakness. It turned out that resisting a man wasn't difficult. If she couldn't overpower him, she could outsmart him. She should have resisted earlier, sparing her daughter so much suffering. Tang Nianyan returned home after midnight. Aunt Zhang was snoring in her room. After washing up, she went back to her room to sleep. In the morning, she was awakened by the smell of food. Aunt Zhang was cooking noodles. Tang Nianyan got up, washed up, and went to the dining room to wait for breakfast. You're awake. I couldn't wait and fell asleep last night. I got good photos of that pretty boy and the fox. TSK, they're as shameless as the old fox. Aunt Zhang said excitedly while cooking. Tang Nianyan was a bit surprised. Things had gone unusually smoothly this time. It seemed like fate was helping her dig up dirt. Aunt Zhang served 2 big bowls of noodles. Hers didn't have an egg, while Tang Nianyan's had 2 fried eggs. Feel free to eat the eggs. No need to save them, Tang Nianyan mentioned, as she had plenty of eggs stored and couldn't finish them all. Just being able to eat white noodles and sesame oil is a blessing. Eating eggs is for emperors. I don't need them. Aunt Zhang shook her head. Many families in her village still couldn't afford white noodles, living on millet and thin porridge, making them look as dark as the millet. She was lucky to work as a nanny, not only able to fill her stomach but also send money home, ensuring her 2 children wouldn't go hungry and could study well. Tang Nianyan didn't insist. If Aunt Zhang didn't want to eat, that was fine. Forcing her might make her uncomfortable. Just like how Aunt Zhang preferred eating alone in the kitchen, sitting at the dining table made her feel awkward. In the kitchen, she could eat however she liked. After breakfast, Aunt Zhang handed over the camera, still wanting more. I finished taking pictures, but that couple took a long time. It's a pity I didn't catch them. Did you get their faces? Tang Nianyan asked. I did, using the method you taught me. And there's something you wouldn't believe. That fox is so shameless. Aunt Zhang felt sorry for Yao Xinghua, marrying such a fox wife who not only brought him shame but also raised another man's daughter. How pitiful! Is the child from a different man? Tang Niannian guessed the truth from Aunt Zhang's gossiping expression. Aunt Zhang opened her mouth, a bit disappointed that Tang Niannian figured it out so quickly, leaving her with no sense of accomplishment. I heard the fox and the other man say their daughter is already 8 years old. She even complained about the other man, saying she had suffered for years marrying a short guy and said many shameless things.
Ugh.
That fox's man is really unfortunate. Aunt Zhang was still quite subtle, considering Tang Niannian was a young lady and some crude words were inappropriate. The fox even said she had to imagine the other man to go through with it, otherwise she would feel sick.
Ugh.
Being a mistress and still complaining about the mess? Truly shameless. You've worked hard. I need to go take care of something. Tang Niannian put away the camera. After sending Fan Zhong to the psychiatric hospital, she would develop the photos and then find Yao Xinghua. Not hard at all. Call me for this kind of thing again in the future. Aunt Zhang was still excited. She enjoyed this kind of infidelity capture. Tang Niannian twitched her lips. Aunt Zhang and her grandmother would probably get along well as gossip partners. She rode her bike to Zhongsong Road, which was quiet and deserted. Yu Xiumin hadn't arrived yet, so Tang Niannian found a secluded spot, took out the truck from her space, and parked by the roadside to wait. The bus arrived, stopping to let Yu Xiumin and Fan Zhong off. Fan Zhong leaned heavily against her, completely drained of energy and unable to make a sound. Yu Xiumin fed him the medicine Tang Niannian provided, which left him in this state. Tang Niannian walked over, easily lifting Fan Zhong and tossing him onto the truck. Let's go. Tang Niannian started the vehicle, and Yu Xiumin obediently sat down, feeling excited. Freedom was near, and a better life for her and her daughter was coming. Are you planning to start work before the new year or after? Tang Niannian asked Yu Xiumin as she drove steadily. I'm fine either way, but the transfer paperwork might take a while. Yu Xiumin actually hoped for it to be as soon as possible. She didn't want to stay in Huqing any longer. She wanted to live in a place where no one knew her or her daughter. With such a big event as sending Fan Zhong to a psychiatric hospital, it would be hard to keep it a secret. In a few days, his family and her own would come asking questions. She really didn't want to deal with them anymore. It would be better to leave and not see them again. You don't need to worry about the paperwork. Whenever you want, you can start. Tang Niannian's voice was soft but gave Yu Xiumin confidence, as if nothing could challenge this girl. Then the sooner, the better. I don't want to stay in Huqing any longer. Yu Xiumin boldly expressed her thoughts. I understand. Tang Niannian nodded, her thoughts aligned with Yu Xiumin's. She also wanted Yu Xiumin to start working quickly, as the sock factory could produce new styles before the new year, and after that, orders would surely flood in. 4 hours later, they arrived at Lanting Psychiatric Hospital. Tang Niannian parked the car and took Fan Zhong out of the back, who was frozen from the cold wind, his body feeling like ice, with snot running down his face. He looked at Tang Niannian in fear, wanting to cry for help, but his throat couldn't make a sound. It had to be this beautiful woman's doing. Yu Xiumin didn't have the guts to make him mute and useless. Last night, he had definitely been set up. Normally, he only dared to think about it in his mind. How could he have done something so humiliating? Darn it, he underestimated that woman Yu Xiumin. She actually found a helper to harm him. Fan Zhong looked at Yu Xiumin, begging silently. Although he couldn't speak, she understood his gaze. He was pleading, hoping she would remember their relationship and let him go home. Yu Xiumin sneered, turning her head away, no longer looking at Fan Zhong. She wouldn't show mercy. Being soft-hearted towards such a scoundrel would be cruel to herself and her daughter. She would never believe this man's lies again. The mental hospital was quiet, with doctors and nurses chatting in small groups, enjoying their free time. Tang Niannian easily found the director, as they were old acquaintances. Comrade Tang, what brings you here? The director smiled widely upon seeing her, grateful for the money and supplies the pretty girl had provided, which allowed the hospital to have meat more often and fill their rice bowls. I brought a patient for you. His condition is serious, with violent tendencies and a history of aggression. He becomes lewd when he sees women. You must keep a close watch on him. Tang Nian briefly explained Fan Zhong's condition, and the director's friendly face turned serious as he scrutinized Fan Zhong. I'm not. I want to kill you. Fan Zhong suddenly felt strength return to his body and was able to speak. He broke free from Tang Nian and lunged at Yu Xiumin, shouting that he wanted to kill her. The director calmly took a whistle from his pocket and blew it. Soon, two tall men rushed in. Seeing the crazed Fan Zhong, they quickly restrained him without needing any orders, having practiced this maneuver countless times. No matter how fierce the patient, they could always subdue him. Let me go. I want to kill her. Fan Zhong's eyes turned red with rage. He had lost all reason and was determined to kill Yu Xiumin. Yu Xiumin, terrified, cowered in a corner, trembling. The director shook his head and sighed. He's seriously ill. Take him to room 1, increase his medication, and keep a close watch. Yes, sir. The two men responded and carried Fan Zhong away like a small chick as his screams faded into the distance. Room 1 was on the 4th floor, equipped with a cage for patients with severe conditions and violent tendencies. Once Fan Zhong was locked in, he wouldn't be able to escape. Two attendants heard the commotion and rushed over, excited to see what was happening. They looked healthy and energetic, having been well taken care of by the director, enjoying meat at every meal and living a happy life. Tang Nian and Yu Xiumin went to handle the admission paperwork. With the director's help, it was done quickly. Don't worry, the patient will receive the best care here, and the medication will never run out, the director assured with a smile. Tang Nian exchanged a knowing glance with him and sent Yu Xiumin outside for a walk. Yu Xiumin understood. She could tell Tang Nian and the director were familiar and had private matters to discuss. I'll take a stroll in the garden. After Yu Xiumin left the office and closed the door, Tang Nian mentioned Fan Zhong's abuse of his wife and children. The child is traumatized. The Women's Federation and police won't help, so we had no choice but to bring him here. Please keep an eye on him. Don't worry, once he's here, he won't have a chance to get out, the director promised, slapping his chest. He despised men who abused women and children. A wife should be cherished and children should be spoiled. Men who hit their families were worse than animals. He then instructed his staff to use the strongest medication on Fan Zhong, as he was seriously ill and needed it. Tang Nian smiled and said, I trust you to handle things. I brought some supplies for the hospital for the new year. They're in the truck. I'll have someone move them right away. The director beamed, his eyes shining with excitement as he hurried off to call for help. He appreciated Tang Nian's generous spirit and hoped to work with her for a long time. After all, there were many unfortunate souls in the hospital whose families had abandoned them. He felt pity for them, but the funding was limited, and he struggled to provide enough food, leaving many malnourished. Now, at least they could eat well. The truck was filled with rice, flour, eggs, and meat, all taken from storage. Although the director was curious about the source of these supplies, he didn't ask. He was just glad to have them, no matter where they came from. He also reminded everyone in the hospital not to speak about it. They all understood that good things had to be kept secret to avoid attracting trouble. Tang Nian then visited the two attendants. She had never asked for their names or backgrounds, but she could tell they all had stories, many of them tragic. The king covers the earth with a tiger. A familiar voice rang out, and Tang Nian smiled, replying, the Pagoda Town River Demon. The attendants on the 3rd floor were thrilled. One of them unlocked the iron door and saluted Tang Nian respectfully, saying, Report, the Nightingale has been hiding in the enemy camp and has not been exposed. Well done, continue to stay hidden, Tang Nian praised, handing over a large bag of milk candies. Thank you for the trust. I will keep working hard, the attendant said, beaming as he accepted the candies. The 3rd floor attendant was now more trusted, with greater freedom to move around the hospital and a key to the iron door. He had even gone out to play with the 4th floor attendants a few times without being caught, though they had no money to buy anything and had to return. Report, I have a request. Go ahead. I would like to apply for some cash to facilitate my outings. The third-floor attendant's voice dropped, feeling embarrassed. Tang Nian understood he wanted money and pulled out some cash to give him. Thank you, organization. The third-floor attendant grinned widely. This money would allow him to buy many things. He needed materials for his research on geckos, so he had to go out to shop. The gecko was a scientific madman whose real name no one knew. Everyone called him Gecko because he liked to sleep with his belly pressed against the wall. Tang Nian reminded the third-floor attendant to keep an eye on Fan Zhong. He nodded vigorously, promising to ensure Fan Zhong stayed in his room. Goodbye, I'll come again. Tang Nian saluted and turned to leave. She felt confident in the attendant's ability to handle things. With their help, Fan Zhong's life in the mental hospital would surely be eventful. By the time his family came looking for him, he might truly be insane. By the time she and Yu Xiumin returned to the city, it was nearly dark. Tang Nian first dropped Yu Xiumin off at her home. Fan Zhong's condition is too serious. The doctor said he must be hospitalized, otherwise he could hurt someone. Yu Xiumin shared this with everyone she met, and the neighbors were not surprised. Fan Zhong had gone mad and threatened to kill someone last night, so hospitalization was for everyone's good. Tang Nian advised Yu Xiumin to start the divorce process while she took care of Yao Xinggua's matters. The photos had been developed, and Aunt Zhong had a talent for photography, capturing important moments and faces perfectly. It was clear what the two were doing. Zhou Xingmin was indeed more handsome than Yao Xinggua, refined and fair, wearing glasses like a scholarly young man, but unfortunately, his character was terrible. Tang Nian found the machine tool factory and told the guard she was looking for Yao Xinggua, claiming to be his relative from the countryside. Yao Xinggua was confused when he received a call from the security guard. He was a native of Shanghai and hadn't been in touch with his rural relatives for ages. Where did this country cousin come from? However, he decided to go out, fearing it might really be a relative and it wouldn't be good to ignore them. When he saw Tang Nian, he was even more surprised. He recognized her as the beautiful girl from the award ceremony. How could she be his relative? Yao, this way please. I need to talk to you about something important. Tang Nian pointed toward a quiet spot by the wall, where they could talk easily. Yao Xinggua followed her, full of questions. Miss, what do you need from me? Yao, I apologize for intruding on your personal matters. I want to invite you to work at our company. We are Huiguang Machine Tool Factory, a vibrant new factory in urgent need of talent like you, which is why I took the liberty to reach out. Yao Xinggua was even more puzzled. What was this Huiguang and talent talk? What was she saying? Miss, where is Huiguang Factory? What kind of machine tools do you produce? He thought for a long time but couldn't recall any factory named Huiguang. It might be a small one he hadn't heard of. It's in Zhucheng. The factory is just starting construction. It's a newly approved factory and urgently needs someone like you.
Tang Nian spoke sincerely.
She could handle the electrical aspects, but not the mechanical ones. Only with Yao Xinggua on board could the machine tool factory operate normally, allowing her new technologies to be utilized. Yao Xinggua was at a loss. It was a new factory in Zhucheng, while his family was in Shanghai. There was no way he could move that far. Thank you for thinking highly of me, but my home is in Shanghai. I can't work at your company. What if your family fell apart? Tang Nian asked bluntly. Yao Xinggua was taken aback and, after realizing what she meant, felt anger rise. Miss, don't say such things. I might get upset. I'm not speaking carelessly. I accidentally recorded something.
Look.
Tang Nian pulled out an envelope from her bag and handed it to him. Yao Xinggua's heart sank. His intuition told him the envelope contained something he didn't want to see. His hand froze in midair, and after a long pause, Tang Nian urged, no matter how you hide, you'll have to face it eventually. Yao Xinggua still didn't move. He was scared.
Tang Nian frowned.
This man was not as straightforward as Yu Xiumin. He was hesitating, and if she weren't trying to recruit him, she wouldn't bother with this. She would let them continue their three-way relationship. A real man must face the truth. Tang Nian opened the envelope, held up the photo in front of him. Unless he pretended to be blind, he had to see it. Yao Xingwa saw it, closed his eyes in pain, and clenched his fists tightly. But he didn't say anything. His silence made Tang Niannian unsure of his thoughts. Was he really unwilling to divorce? Was he a ninja turtle? Miss, please give me the negatives, and I ask you to keep this confidential. Yao Xingwa finally spoke, and his words made Tang Niannian feel a chill. She wanted to walk away, but thinking of the machine tool factory, she continued to press on. Since the humiliation of being cheated on wasn't painful enough, she decided to dig deeper. When I was taking pictures, I overheard your wife and her lover talking. They said their daughter is 8 years old, and that luckily she doesn't look like Meng Xingmin, but like her mother. The color drained from Yao Xingwa's face. His round body swayed a bit, and he almost fainted. He had endured all this for his daughter. But now, even his daughter wasn't his. Yang Hui was so cruel. Yao Xingwa didn't doubt it because his daughter really didn't resemble him. She was fair, tall, and beautiful, looking like Yang Hui. But upon closer inspection, she had some features of Meng Xingmin. He had never thought about this before, but now it felt like a fog had lifted, revealing the truth. His daughter was born 8 months premature but was healthy, weighing 7 pounds at birth. Moreover, Yang Hui hadn't wanted to marry him at first. Then she suddenly changed her mind and urged him to marry quickly. It was all so rushed. On their wedding night, he was heavily drunk after his brothers forced drinks on him. When he woke up, there were red spots on the bed, and Yang Hui said he had been rough and hurt her. He had felt guilty then and hadn't drunk since, but now he thought about it. How could he have done anything while so drunk? Also, Yang Hui must have rushed into marriage because she couldn't hide her pregnancy anymore. Yao Xingwa realized many things, feeling bitter like bitter herbs. He laughed at himself. His friends had warned him countless times, but he had deceived himself, pretending not to see the truth. Yang Hui had been so cold to him, and their daughter didn't even show affection. Yet he still wanted to maintain this family. What was the point? Try to see things positively. A little green in life makes it more vibrant. Tang Niannian offered some comfort, but Yao Xingwa clearly wasn't comforted. He looked at her with a hint of resentment, making her feel a bit guilty. I sincerely want to invite you to work at Huiguang Factory. The salary and benefits will definitely be better than what you have now, and you'll be the chief engineer. You'll have the final say on any mechanical issues, with the highest design authority. What do you think? Tang Niannian dangled the bait. For an engineer, having the highest design authority was definitely tempting, and Yao Xingwa would surely be interested. Sure enough, Yao Xingwa's expression softened. He even forgot his sadness about being cheated on and raising another man's child. His biggest dream was to develop new products independently without anyone bothering him. Is it really up to you? Yao Xingwa asked. Of course. I'm the factory manager. Tang Niannian nodded, not mentioning that she was only the deputy manager, but she definitely had the power to hire and fire. Yao Xingwa was skeptical. How could such a young girl be a factory manager? What does Huiguang mainly produce? Have you found an electrical engineer? We mainly produce semi-automatic lathes, and in the future, we plan to develop fully automatic machine tools. You don't need to worry about the electrical side. It's already arranged. Tang Niannian actually wanted to produce machining centers, but it was too early for that. Many technologies weren't mature yet. They could only focus on semi-automatic for now, but in a decade or so, they could develop machining centers. As they discussed machine tools, they found they had a lot in common in design ideas. Yao Xingwa couldn't help but admire Tang Niannian. Indeed, one shouldn't judge by appearances. Although she was young, her grasp of machine tool technology was top-notch, even nationally. I'm willing to join you. I'll apply for a transfer right away. Yao Xingwa no longer hesitated. Now that he was sure Tang Niannian wasn't a fraud, he had nothing to worry about. He didn't care much about salary and benefits. He would definitely divorce Yang Hui and wouldn't want the child anymore. Most likely, he wouldn't remarry. Living alone seemed just fine. His parents had jobs, and he had siblings to take care of them. He could support himself, and in Shanghai he had no ties, allowing him to focus entirely on working at Huiguang Machine Tool Factory. Yao Xinghua, who seemed honest and simple, might not have strong opinions, but once he made up his mind, he would act immediately. He calculated the time and told Tang Nian, "I will report to the Huiguang factory in 3 days." Tang Nian twitched her mouth. He was even more anxious than she was. "Is your unit not letting you go? Do you need my help?" Core technical talents like Yao Xinghua are hard to let go of for any unit. Tang Nian even planned to scare his boss at midnight. Yao Xinghua smiled bitterly and said, "I'm not important at my unit. My boss would be glad to see me go. Don't worry, the transfer paperwork will be done quickly." Moving from a city to a county enterprise in another province is like being demoted, so there shouldn't be any trouble. The technical department is overcrowded, and he has made many people envious by taking up space. Recently, he had applied countless times for a small project, but the higher-ups kept rejecting him on purpose to discourage him. "I need to be clear. I don't like social niceties, I won't flatter anyone, and I can't handle such a work environment." "Is the interpersonal relationship in your factory complicated?" Yao Xinghua suddenly thought if Huiguang was also a place where people had to play politics, he might reconsider. Tang Nian smiled and assured him, "I don't like that either. I can't promise everything, but as long as I'm at the factory, I will make sure you don't get caught up in any social troubles. Just focus on research and development. You don't need to worry about anything else." "That's good." Yao Xinghua felt relieved and turned to head back to the factory to submit his application. "Do you really not need my help?" Tang Nian asked. "Thank you, I can handle it. How do I contact you in 3 days?" "Call this number." Tang Nian gave him a phone number, which was the phone booth in her apartment complex. Even if she wasn't home, Aunt Zhang could answer the call. Yao Xinghua noted it down, nodded, and walked back to the factory. As he passed the guard politely asked, "Yao, is that really your relative?" "Yes, a relative from my hometown needs my help." Yao Xinghua replied politely and hurried back to his office. After sitting for a while, he asked for leave, saying he had an urgent matter at home. Normally, he wouldn't take leave even when sick, so when he left in a hurry, his colleagues were quite curious. "What's going on at Yao's home? He doesn't seem to be in a good mood. Maybe an elder is sick? Didn't the guard just say a relative was looking for him?" "That's not right. Yao's parents are fine. I saw them a couple of days ago, looking healthy and energetic." "Wow, come look at this photo, oh my. So embarrassing." Someone discovered something new under Yao Xinghua's desk and picked up a photo. It was a revealing picture of Yang Hui and Meng Xingmin, and everyone gathered around, quickly turning their heads away in shame, cursing under their breath. "It looks like Yang Hui and Meng Xingmin. I knew something was off with those two. My eyes don't lie. TSK. So shameless, those two." Everyone showed disdain. In this era, nothing was more shameful than infidelity. Regardless of gender, if someone had a scandal, they would never hold their head high again, and it would affect their family too. "Is Yao going to confront Yang Hui? This could get serious," someone exclaimed, startling everyone. Yao Xinghua asking for leave with a dark expression surely meant he was going to settle the score with Yang Hui. A man's greatest shame is being cheated on. No man can tolerate that. "Quick, go bring him back," someone shouted, and others rushed outside, their curiosity burning, not even thinking about why there was a photo on the floor. Yao Xinghua didn't leave the factory. He went to find Yang Hui. He had intentionally left the photo behind. He was honest, but that didn't mean he was foolish. Over the years, he believed he hadn't wronged Yang Hui. He handed over his salary, took care of household chores, and picked up their child from school whenever he could. He fulfilled his duties as a husband and father. Friends and relatives had told him Yang Hui wasn't a good person, but he never believed them. He thought that since he married her, he should trust her. But Yang Hui had treated him like a fool, betraying his trust and efforts. Yao Xinghua felt a fire burning inside him, but it didn't cloud his judgment. He wouldn't confront Yang Hui violently, it wasn't worth it. He just wanted to give her a little punishment to vent his anger. Yang Hui was working in the warehouse, and when Yao Xinghua arrived, she was lazily knitting a sweater, leaning back in her chair, slowly working on a vest with brown yarn, almost finished. Seeing the vest made Yao Xingguo's fists clench. It was clear that the vest wasn't for him. Yang Hui had said it was for her father. She had knitted sweaters before, and most of the yarn supplied each year was used by her. But Yao Xingguo didn't even get a pair of knitted gloves. The sweaters Yang Hui made were either for her or their daughter. He had no idea where the men's sweaters went. Now that he thought about it, it was obvious they were for Meng Xingmin. Yang Hui's father was a bit heavier and had bronchitis. He never wore V-neck sweaters. Once the veil of shame was lifted, all the overlooked details became clear to Yao Xingguo, playing back in his mind like a slow-motion film. How foolish he was. Yao Xingguo looked at Yang Hui with disdain. She was still beautiful, like a blooming flower, but he now felt only disgust, more repulsive than a rat in a sewer. Yang Hui sensed his gaze, looked up, and frowned slightly, annoyed. "What are you doing here? Let's get a divorce," Yao Xingguo said coldly, throwing the photo at her. The photos fluttered down like snowflakes, some drifting far away, picked up by others in the warehouse. "What are you talking about?" Yang Hui still didn't realize the seriousness of the situation, openly showing her disgust. If it weren't for her pregnancy back then, she would never have married this short man. Just lying in bed with him every day made her feel sick. Yao Xingguo cursed himself for being so foolish. Yang Hui had always treated him with such disdain, both at work and at home. Her contempt was too obvious, and he had been deceived for so many years. "I'm calm now. Let's go get the divorce paperwork done. You can take the child. I won't raise someone else's kid." Yao Xingguo was truly calm now. His usually honest face turned cold, and his gaze toward Yang Hui became filled with hatred. Yang Hui finally sensed something was off. Her husband was making her a bit anxious. Others had already seen the content of the photo, looking at Yao Xingguo with sympathy and at Yang Hui with disdain. How shameless! Yang Hui's expression changed as she noticed the unusual gazes around her. Trembling, she picked up a photo. After just one glance, the color drained from her face, leaving her mind blank. How could Yao Xingguo have taken these photos? When did he find out? A chill ran down Yang Hui's spine. She felt completely cold. The husband she had always looked down upon had dealt her a fatal blow today, leaving no room for negotiation. How had she never realized this man was so heartless? "Stop wasting time. Go handle the divorce paperwork. The child is yours and Meng Xingmin's. Take them with you." Yao Xingguo spoke calmly, but inside, he felt a rush of revenge. All the frustration from the years came pouring out. People from the technical department and other workshops rushed over, eager to see the drama unfold, having heard that the usually mild-mannered Yao Xingguo was confronting Yang Hui. "The child isn't Yao's? No wonder they said it was a premature birth. Yang Hui is so shameless. I said that child doesn't look like Yao at all. The more they grow, the more they resemble Meng Xingmin. Yang Hui is worse than Pan Jinlian." Yao's self-control is impressive. Even after being treated so poorly, he still speaks kindly. "If it were me, I would have dealt with that couple harshly." The crowd's voices grew louder, rallying behind Yao Xingguo. Yang Hui had gone too far. This marriage had started with deceit, and it was infuriating. Yang Hui's face turned pale, cold sweat pouring down her. The words pierced her ears like daggers. She couldn't even defend herself, as they were all true. That same day, Yao Xingguo completed the divorce paperwork with Yang Hui. The house was assigned to him by the factory, and once he transferred, it would be reclaimed, leaving Yang Hui homeless. Moreover, Yang Hui and Meng Xingmin's scandal had escalated too much. The machine tool factory fired both of them and arrested them for indecency. Unless something unexpected happened, they would spend over a decade in prison. As for the girl, she was taken by Yang Hui's parents. Although the child was somewhat pitiful, the real culprits were Yang Hui and Meng Xingmin. Yao Xingguo didn't concern himself with the child anymore. He had already completed his transfer paperwork. The factory pretended to retain him, but Yao Xingguo expressed his desire to leave this painful place, and they quickly approved it. Yao Xingguo's transition went smoothly, but Yu Xiumin faced some trouble. She was a key technician at the sock factory, which refused to let her go, stating they wanted to keep her there for life and would not allow her to benefit another sock factory. Tang Nian planned to meet with the sock factory manager that evening. Yu Xiumin had made her decision. She resigned. Yu Xiumin decisively submitted her resignation letter, citing health issues. The factory couldn't hold her back any longer and had to let her go. 3 days later, Tang Nian picked up Yao Xinghua and Yu Xiumin and her daughter to return to Zhucheng. The Huiguang machine tool factory is still under construction, and the conditions are quite basic. The sock factory is in the village. Although it's rural, the scenery is beautiful, and there are many playmates. Tian will definitely like it. On the way, Tang Nian introduced Zhucheng and Tang Village to them. The machine tool factory is in the county, so Yao Xinghua will live in the city, while Yu Xiumin will temporarily stay in Tang Village. The sock factory will move to the county in 2 years. The expansion application has already been approved. Don't worry, things will definitely get better. Tang Nian wasn't just making empty promises. Everything she said was in progress. The sock factory would indeed move to Zhucheng, and the Tang Village factory would become a branch, with plans for an expansion of a craft factory as well, but it would be done step by step. I'm fine with anything, Yu Xiumin said with a smile. She didn't have high material demands, as long as the people around her were easy to get along with. Yao Xinghua was indifferent. He could live anywhere. They arrived in Zhucheng by noon. Tang Nian had called Factory Director Qian and Factory Director Wu that morning, and lunch was arranged at the cafeteria of the Tianjin factory. As soon as Tang Nian parked, she saw Director Qian running over with a beaming smile. "Xiao Tang, you're here?" Director Qian's laughter was cheerful, almost like he had just eaten a frog. "Welcome, Yao Gong, Yu Gong. You must be tired from the journey. Let's go eat and try the delicious food of Zhucheng." Director Qian shook hands with them, already aware of their situations as top technical talents. Xiao Tang was impressive. She had managed to recruit them while receiving an award. Director Wu arrived a moment later, and from a distance, he saw Director Qian's annoying face, making him so angry that he didn't even stop the car before jumping out and running over, extending his hand with a big smile. "Xiao Tang, I haven't seen you in ages. I've missed you." Tang Nian felt a bit awkward, rubbing her arms. Every time she met Director Qian, Director Wu's overly enthusiastic demeanor became particularly annoying. She couldn't understand why these two middle-aged men were competing. "Welcome. I'm Wu Songyuan, mainly responsible for production at the Huiguang machine tool factory. If you have any production-related issues in the future, feel free to reach out to me anytime." Wu Songyuan warmly shook Yao Xingguo's hand, reluctant to let go, and continued to hold it all the way to the cafeteria, making Director Qian roll his eyes. Yao Xinghua had felt a bit anxious about the new workplace, but now he felt much more at ease. Both directors Qian and Wu seemed easy to get along with and had promised him many privileges. He hoped his choice was indeed the right one. After lunch, Tang Nian took out a stack of photos she had taken of the semi-automatic machine tools in her space. They compared the current semi-automatic tools with the improved versions, showing a doubling of speed and precision. She had researched the information and found that foreign technology had already reached this level, but the West had blocked it from China, so there were currently no similar machine tools produced domestically. Tang Nian had captured many detail shots and mechanical diagrams of the machine tools. While the details might not be complete, combined with the actual photos and Yao Xingguo's research skills, they should be able to recreate the machine. This is the latest technology from abroad. I got these photos and blueprints through connections. Yao Gong, you can study them first. If you need anything, just contact Director Qian or Director Wu, or you can call me. We will fully support you. Tang Nian handed the blueprints and photos to Yao Xinghua, confident that there would be no leaks. She trusted Yao Xingguo's character and believed she could recover anything if it got out. Yao Xinghua, recognizing the value, became excited after looking at a few photos. Combined with the blueprints, he was eager to start working immediately. "I can definitely make this. Just give me 2 assistants." Yao Xingguo's eyes sparkled with excitement. He never expected that on his first day in Zhucheng, he would receive such a significant project. He felt incredibly grateful for choosing Huiguang. Both directors Qian and Wu were stunned. They hadn't anticipated that Tang Nian would present such a big opportunity. Where had she gotten those photos and blueprints? I met many foreign merchants at the trade fair. I just had to spend a little money to get them, Tang Nian casually explained. Director Qian and Director Wu firmly believed this, but they both thought that such important information must have cost a lot, not just a small amount. Xiao Tang, the factory will cover this expense. You shouldn't pay out of your own pocket. Director Qian said seriously. That's right. You shouldn't lose out. Director Wu added, not wanting to back down. Tang Nian didn't refuse. 20,000 yuan. Just put it on the account for now. That's so cheap? Xiao Tang, are you sure you're not underreporting? Both directors were skeptical, thinking it should at least be 10 times that amount. As long as they could produce these machine tools, their factory would definitely break into the international market. They would also qualify to participate in the trade fair in the future. Am I the one losing out? It's just 20,000. It was bought when the foreign merchants were drunk. Tang Nian didn't want to discuss this further. She was focused on future profits and didn't care about this small amount. Moreover, she would be providing many new machine tool designs in the future. This was just the beginning. The factory couldn't come up with 20,000 yuan right now, so they could only put it on account. Tang Nian didn't mind. Once the machine tools were in production, they would make a lot of money. Yao Xinghua was a workaholic. Once he had the designs, he had no interest in anything else, not even visiting the factory. Director Qian and Director Wu arranged for him to work in a temporary office, while Tang Nian took Yu Xiumin and her child back to Tang Village. She called Tang Jianshu, informing him that Yu Xiumin and her child had a place to stay, temporarily at the Tang family home. They were already building factory buildings and dormitories in the village, which would be ready after the new year, allowing the mother and daughter to move into new accommodations. When the truck entered Tang Village, it attracted many enthusiastic villagers. Hearing the news, Grandma Tang rushed over. Nian girl is back. Move aside. Don't block my view of my granddaughter. Grandma Tang pushed through the crowd, shouting loudly. Tang Nian couldn't help but smile. Her grandma had such a strong voice. Grandma, this is Master Yu, a senior sample maker I specially invited for the sock factory. She's also an outstanding young person from the city. She will be in charge of the sock factory samples from now on. Tang Nian introduced Yu Xiumin grandly. She did this intentionally, as most people in Tang Village were simple, but a few had bad intentions. As a single woman with a child, if Yu Xiumin didn't elevate her status, she would surely face bullying. Sure enough, everyone listened and looked at Yu Xiumin with great respect. The sock factory was now the village's cash cow, and this woman could help it grow even more. They would definitely treat her with respect. Master Yu, feel free to stay at my house. With me around, no one will dare to trouble you. Grandma Tang promised, giving a warning glance to a few restless villagers. Anyone who dared to cause trouble would not be treated kindly. Yu Xiumin felt warm inside. She was surprised by Tang Village. She had expected it to be a backward and poor mountain village, but it was much better than she imagined. The villagers were energetic and healthy, wearing clothes that looked almost new, and everyone was very friendly, seeming easy to get along with. Yu Xiumin felt more hopeful about her future life. Thus, Yu Xiumin settled into the Tang family. Tian was initially a bit shy, but after seeing the beautiful Fu Bao, she couldn't help but move closer. With Jiu Jin leading her, Tian quickly made friends with the village kids, adapting to her new environment even faster than Yu Xiumin. That night, Tian lay in her mother's arms, happily saying, "Mom, I like it here." She loved Fu Bao, Baijiu, Jiu Jin, and her new friends in the village. She wanted to stay here forever. Yu Xiumin's eyes filled with tears of joy. She was so glad she made the right choice. Her daughter hadn't smiled like this in a long time. Thankfully, it was not too late. Tang Nian had originally arranged for Yu Xiumin to have a few days off to get used to the new environment, but the next day, Yu Xiumin asked to start working. Tian, not wanting to part from Jiu Jin, decided to go to school with her. In rural schools, there were fewer restrictions and many older kids brought their younger siblings. The teachers were used to it. Yu Xiumin's previous salary at the sock factory was 48 yuan, but Tang Nian offered her 88 yuan plus bonuses. That's too much. Just give me the same salary as before. Yu Xiumin was shocked. She never dreamed of such a high salary, which she could hardly spend. Your skills are worth the salary. If you can develop new patterns, you'll get 500 yuan for each one. Just do your best. Tang Nian felt that people were really simple. Yao Xingguo was the same. She offered him 120 yuan, which made him tremble, saying he only needed half. Yu Xiumin was moved to tears. It was the first time someone valued her so much. Now, no matter what Tang Nian asked her to do, she would go all out. A person is willing to die for someone who understands them. Director Tang, I will work hard. Yu Xiumin clenched her fist and promised loudly. She was determined to develop new patterns to generate income for the sock factory, not wanting to let the factory down. Tang Nian patted her shoulder and encouraged her, go for it. Then, Yu Xiumin went to work with renewed energy, and Tang Nian felt very pleased. Nowadays, people were self-motivated, making it easy for bosses. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, Yu Xiumin had been in Tang Village for over half a month. With the new year approaching, Tang Nian also took some time to go to the provincial capital to receive an award for bravery. She was recognized for her efforts in putting out a fire, and Xian Chuanrong received the same award. Tang Nian was very satisfied with the prize, which included a certificate and a 100 yuan bonus. Xian Chuanrong was also officially hired as a worker at the furniture factory. When Zhang Lili heard about this, she said she wanted to treat Tang Nian to dinner when Xian Chuanrong returned to Zhucheng. You are truly our lucky star. If it weren't for you, Chuanrong wouldn't have had these good things happen. Zhang Lili was extremely happy, and her joy was evident over the phone. Did your mom agree to you dating Xian Chuanrong? Tang Nian asked. Not yet, but she's not as stern as before. Zhang Lui's tone had a hint of shyness, sounding like a sweet young woman in love. Congratulations. Let me know when you get married. Tang Nian sincerely wished her well. It's still early, but you better prepare a red envelope. It can't be too small. Zhang Lui joked, knowing Tang Nian had money. Actually, you can put it on credit. You'll have to pay it back anyway. It's too much trouble to keep going back and forth. Tang Nian genuinely found it troublesome because she and Xin Xiao were also getting married next year, so a credit note would be easier. Pfft. Good luck. I'm not afraid of trouble. Who puts wedding expenses on credit? Zhang Lui scoffed, having never heard of such a thing. It would be laughable to mention it. Tang Nian rolled her eyes and hung up the phone, slowly walking home. On the way, she caught a whiff of a delicious sweet smell that made her mouth water. She took a few deep breaths and concluded that they were making bean cakes, specifically with peanuts and black sesame. Xiao Mao, come here. Tang Nian waved, and a little boy with a runny nose ran over, his small face red from the cold. He was one of Jiao Jin's little followers, only 5 years old, and he ran around the village every day. Second sister, what's up? Xiao Mao sniffed hard and looked up at her. Who made the bean cake? Tang Nian took a piece of milk candy from her pocket and handed it to him. The captain's family made a lot. Xiao Mao tore open the candy wrapper, stuffed the milk candy into his mouth, and slurped happily, his eyes squinting with joy. Go play. Now that she had her answer, Tang Nian let Xiao Mao go play and changed direction to find Sen Bo Nyang for some food. The bean cake was really tempting. Actually, she didn't love sweets much and used to eat bean cake rarely, but maybe because her period was coming, she craved something sweet these days. The smell of the bean cake made her mouth water. San Bo Nyang was making bean cake in the yard, using a simple stove with a big pot. Inside was a mixture of cooked bean cake, rice, black sesame, crushed peanuts, and sugar. Once fried and stuck together, it was placed in a mold, cooled, and cut into pieces, known as bean cake or ice rice candy. In Tang Village, making bean cake for the new year was a tradition, served to guests and given to children as snacks. However, in the past, few families could afford to make such a luxury dessert due to difficult conditions. Here comes Nian. Eat up. Huang Zhaodi greeted Tang Nian warmly, inviting her to eat bean cake. Why did you make so much? Tang Nian took a piece, which was crispy, sweet, and fragrant with peanuts and sesame, just right for her taste. It's rare to make it, so I made extra to share with relatives. Huang Zhaodi smiled broadly and packed 2 pounds of bean cake in a clean bag for Tang Nian to take home. Tang Nian accepted it without hesitation and glanced into the house, noticing that Tang Hongxing hadn't shown up these days. Huang Zhaodi noticed her gaze, and her smile faded a bit. She sighed. We found a young man for her, 8 years older than Hongxing, from Da Wang village. His family is well off, and he is willing to work hard. She'll marry him after the Lantern Festival. She had inquired about this young man, and he seemed decent. Both his parents had passed away, leaving him alone. With Hongxing's bad temper, she would likely have trouble with her in-laws, so a simple family like his would be more suitable. Although she felt disappointed in her daughter, Huang Zhaodi still did her best to find a reliable man, hoping Tang Hongxing could have a better life. Does Hongxing agree? Tang Nian asked. She doesn't have a choice. If she refuses, we'll tie her up and send her off. We can't let her stay here and bring shame to the family. Huang Zhaodi's face darkened. The saying that a girl shouldn't stay at home when she grows up was indeed true. She never expected her once sensible daughter to turn out like this, shamelessly chasing after a man and bringing disgrace to the Tang family. Tang Nian didn't say anything more, but she felt that Tang Hongxing would not accept the arrangement quietly and would likely cause trouble later. She took a bag of bean cake home, and by the time she arrived, half of it was left. Tang Nian felt sick from eating too much and didn't want any more, giving it all to Jiujin and Tian. Time flew by, and the festive atmosphere in the village grew stronger. This year, the people of Tang village made a lot of money, and there were more choices for New Year goods. Almost every household had some meat drying, with the Tang family having the most. Grandma Tang had been preparing for a month, drying duck, chicken, salted fish, and salted meat, filling the yard. Anyone passing by the Tang house would compliment her, greatly satisfying her vanity. With 2 days left until New Year's Eve, Xian Chunrong's workplace had a holiday, and he returned to Zhucheng. He and Zhang Luwei strolled around the county town, bought many things, and even got gifts for Zhang Luwei. Their relationship was progressing quickly, as if they were one person. Xian Chunrong did side jobs making furniture, and earned a lot of money, buying many New Year goods for his family. On the 29th day of the new year, he returned home with bags full, ready to celebrate a grand new year with his family. The sock factory and craft factory in Tang village hadn't closed yet due to heavy production tasks. Tang Nian had suggested they take a break for the new year, but the workers were unwilling, saying they could work until New Year's Eve with great enthusiasm. Yu Xiaomin and her daughter also stayed in Tang village for the new year. After her divorce, her family found out and called to scold her, offering no words of comfort, only blame. Yu Xiaomin felt completely disheartened and decided not to return to Hucheng. Grandma Tang comforted her, assuring her it was fine to stay in the village for the new year. Your salary is higher than a man's now. Just focus on work and save some money. Money is more reliable than family. Yu Xiaomin nodded, feeling embarrassed. I'm just too much trouble for you all. The sock factory's building wasn't finished yet, so she and her daughter had been living at the Tang house, with meals provided. She gave Grandma Tang 30 yuan for food each month, but Grandma Tang only accepted half, saying they didn't eat much, making Yu Xiaomin feel quite embarrassed. What's the trouble? Even if you weren't here, I'd still have to cook. It's just a matter of adding 2 more pairs of chopsticks. We don't have so many formalities in the countryside. Just stay comfortably. Grandma Tang spoke from the heart. Yu Xiaomin paid for her meals and was very considerate, often helping with housework. Tian was also well-behaved, always following Jiujin around. The two of them didn't eat much, yet they paid 15 yuan for meals each month. Yu Xiaomin occasionally bought things for the family, making it seem like she was benefiting from the arrangement. Yu Xiaomin and her daughter felt at ease staying in Tang village for the new year. The festive atmosphere grew stronger each day. Even in tough times, There was always a sense of celebration, and this year, with villagers earning money, they were generous with their New Year goods. Almost every yard had cured meats hanging out to dry: duck, dried chicken, salted meat, sausages, and salted fish. In the whole village, the Tang family had the most hanging out to dry. Grandma Tang had started preparing a month ago, filling half the yard. The air was filled with delicious smells, and everyone passing by couldn't help but look enviously and compliment her. "Annie, you've dried so much meat this year. You'll be eating until May, right?" "Not likely. My family is big. We'll be lucky to eat until March." "That's because your family eats meat at every meal. The whole village combined doesn't eat as much as you. Auntie, you're the luckiest in the village. Let me touch you for good luck." Such conversations happened almost every day. The villagers who said these things were half flattering and half sincere. Grandma Tang had a successful granddaughter, and her good fortune was undeniable. Every day, Grandma Tang was flattered and beamed with joy, her vanity greatly satisfied. She felt at least 10 years younger, working harder, and walked with a spring in her step. The old lady knew very well that her good fortune came from her granddaughter, so she made many snacks that Tang Nian Nian loved. The day she saw the bean cake brought from the captain's house, Grandma Tang decided to make it the next day, generously preparing over 10 pounds, with plenty of peanuts and sesame seeds, quite a big deal. She also made fried rice cakes, fried sweet potato chips, fried pork, and fried meatballs, making a lot of each. Grandma Tang prepared plenty of skin rolls too, as Tang Nian Nian loved stir-fried skin rolls with vegetables. Stir-fried skin rolls with frost-covered greens are simply divine. Amid Grandma Tang's busy preparations, New Year's Eve finally arrived. On New Year's Eve, families typically stay home to prepare the reunion dinner and worship the gods. Early in the morning, Grandma Tang was hard at work, while Tang Nian Nian was still in bed, unable to sleep because of her grandmother's loud voice. "Oldest, kill the chickens and ducks separately, don't mix the blood. Jin Feng and Jinju, make sure you pluck them clean this time. We don't want feathers in our food. Second, go fetch water. Can't you see the barrel is empty? Just move those beads. Sixth, go start the fire. Third, what are you doing? Are you deaf? Hurry up and chop the firewood. Dong Chong, don't chop. Let your uncle do it. You go dig some green onions, get plenty. Dandan, sweep the yard. You can't sweep tomorrow on the first day, so make sure it's clean." Grandma Tang was like a general, assigning tasks to everyone in the family, leaving no one out except for Jiojin and Tang Nian Nian. Tang Nian Nian snuggled in her warm blanket, smiling at her grandmother's energy. She stretched and called out, "Jiojin, bring me my clothes." At night, she would leave her clothes on the blanket, but Grandma Tang always took them and put them in the warm stove to keep them cozy. "I'm coming." Jiojin rushed in with the clothes, stuffing them into the blanket, grinning, "Second sister, they're nice and warm." "Good girl." Tang Nian Nian took the clothes, feeling their warmth, and gently pinched Jiojin's chubby cheeks, which felt great. "Second sister, when is brother-in-law coming?" Jiojin was eager because Xin Xiao had promised to bring her bullet shells as a New Year gift, and she was looking forward to it every day. "Today, go meet him at the village entrance." Tang Nian Nian put on her clothes and lingered in bed, not wanting to get up. "I'll go meet brother-in-law." Jiojin quickly ran off with her short legs, excited to show her friends the bullet shells. They would definitely be envious. At the village entrance, a jeep sped in, kicking up a cloud of dust. It stopped under the old camphor tree at the village entrance, and the children playing under the tree rushed over. Jiojin was a bit late and couldn't get to the front. "Move aside. It's my brother-in-law. Why are you crowding?" As Xin Xiao opened the car door, he heard this and felt his mood lift, his stern expression softening. "Brother-in-law, did you bring my bullet shells?" Jiojin squeezed in, looking eagerly at Xin Xiao.
"Here."
Xin Xiao took out a cloth bag from his backpack, filled with dozens of empty bullet shells. Jiojin opened the bag and took out a few shells, her eyes sparkling. The other kids were extremely envious, surrounding her to flatter her. "Jiojin, this is my mom's fried rice cake. Can I trade for a bullet shell?" This is a cake my sister bought in town. Can we trade? Jiojin, I just got a new hairpin for my mom. Can I trade? The children eagerly showed off their prized possessions, hoping to exchange for a bullet shell.
No traes.
You can only touch them. Usually generous, Jiojin became stingy this time, only allowing her friends to touch the bullet shells and refusing to trade, as she hadn't had enough fun with them yet. Shen Xiao glanced at the kids, smiling, and decided to bring more bullet shells for Jiojin next time. He carried several bags of goods from the jeep. Some were New Year gifts from the army, while others he had bought himself. He walked towards the Tang family, his arms full like a little mountain. Xiao Shen is back. You bought so much. Nian Nian hasn't gotten up yet, right? She's probably still sleeping. She hasn't gotten up. The second aunt didn't wake her up for chores. How many days are you resting, Xiao Shen? When are you and Nian Nian getting your marriage certificate? Along the way, many villagers greeted Shen Xiao warmly, asking about their wedding plans. We'll get the certificate when Nian Nian turns 18. I'm taking a half-month break. Shen Xiao replied to everyone. Nian Nian's birthday is in June, so they could get married then. Everyone admired his tall, stern figure and the many gifts he carried, envying Nian Nian for her good fortune. She had a successful partner who was capable, a perfect match. When Shen Xiao arrived at the Tang family, everyone was busy. Tang Nian Nian was brushing her teeth, while Grandma Tang's strong voice echoed from the kitchen. Shen Zhao's expression softened even more. Just as he was about to call out, Tang Nian Nian looked up, toothpaste foam around her mouth. Xiao Shen is here.
Come in.
Xian Jinzhu, who was plucking chicken feathers, saw him and greeted him warmly. Grandma Tang came out, smiling widely, and rushed to greet him. Why did you buy so much? We have everything at home. Though she said that, her hands reached out for the bags, making Tang Nian Nian laugh. Her grandmother was just like her aunt, always saying one thing and meaning another. It's from the army. Shen Xiao answered honestly, bringing the items inside. Grandma Tang followed him and lightly tapped Tang Nian Nian on the head as she passed, scolding, You've been washing for ages. Hurry up. With her partner at the door, she shouldn't be looking so messy. This girl really didn't care. Grandma Tang personally brewed tea for Shen Xiao and brought out a full fruit platter to entertain him. This year, the Tang family's fruit platter was quite impressive, featuring white rabbit candy, assorted candies, toffee, sunflower seeds, peanuts, pine nuts, and walnuts. Quite a fancy platter even in the city. I'll go make you some noodles. It was around 9 in the morning, and usually, when guests arrived at this time, the host would prepare some food. Grandma Tang quickly cooked a big bowl of noodles and fried 3 eggs. Shen Xiao had already eaten breakfast, but he had a good appetite and could easily eat another bowl. After Tang Nian Nian finished washing up, she sat across from him, watching him eat the noodles. Shen Xiao picked up an egg to feed her. I'm not eating. I'll have lunch soon. Tang Nian Nian refused, grabbing some pine nuts from the fruit platter to snack on. I bought a lot of fireworks. We'll set them off tonight. After finishing his noodles, Shen Xiao took the bowl to the kitchen and returned to help Tang Nian Nian peel the pine nuts. They worked together seamlessly. When Grandma Tang saw them, she frowned slightly, thinking, a lazy man needs a hardworking wife. Otherwise, a lazy girl will starve. Man Tong, have you seen Hong Xing? The anxious voice of the team leader came from outside. Tang Man Tong wiped his sweat after chopping wood and shook his head, asking, Did Hong Xing run away? There was no movement all morning, and we didn't pay attention to her. When we went to the backyard for firewood, we found the wooden board on the window was loose. The team leader lowered his voice, gritting his teeth, with a murderous look in his eyes. After the chaos on New Year's Eve, he really wanted to get rid of this rebellious daughter. Raising a pig would be more useful than her. Don't worry, she must have gone to Xian village. I'll go with you to look for her. Tang Man Tong threw down the axe, went inside to wipe his sweat, put on his coat, and took out his bicycle. Tang Hong Xing was stubborn. She must have gone to find Xian Chun Rong. Causing such trouble on New Year's Eve was really annoying. When Old Lady Tang heard the commotion and found out that Tang Hong Xing had run away, her first thought was of Tang Wujin, They both had the same stubbornness. Let her go and find out for herself. Xian Chunrong already has a partner. She should give up and get married after the new year, instead of staying at home and embarrassing us. Old Lady Tang said coldly. She used to think Tang Hongxing was smarter than Wu Jin, but now it seemed they were both equally foolish, only capable of embarrassing themselves. The team leader nodded grimly, thinking the same way, hoping this rebellious daughter would finally give up. Tang Mantong and Tang Jianshu accompanied the team leader to Xian village, while Tang Niannian didn't want to deal with this mess and went to play in the back mountains with Shinshao. Xian village, the usually quiet entrance of the landlord's house, was bustling with people. Chunrong, I know you said those things on purpose. You have feelings for me, right? You're just afraid of dragging me down. That's why you said you don't like me. I know everything. Tang Hongxing, looking quite worn out, clung tightly to Xian Chunrong's arm, refusing to let go. She had no intention of going back home this time. She wanted to marry Chunrong and stay in the Xian family. Xian Chunrong was holding a basin of water. After washing up that morning, he opened the door to pour it out and was suddenly grabbed by Tang Hongxing. She was acting like a madwoman, completely ignoring what he said, insisting she wanted to marry him. I'll say this one last time. I don't like you. I've never said I liked you, nor have I promised you anything or accepted anything from you. Tang Hongxing, please have some self-respect and stop bothering me. Xian Chunrong's tone was much harsher as he tried to pull his arm away, but Tang Hongxing clung to him like a leech. If he forcibly pulled away, she would definitely fall and get hurt. It wasn't that he was being gentle. He just had to be careful because of his sensitive background. He couldn't cause trouble for his family. Please let go. We're not even close. Let go. Xian Chunrong struggled a few more times, but Tang Hongxing held on tighter, saying, I've cut ties with my family, Chunrong. We have no worries now. We can be together openly. Are you crazy? Even if I became a monk, I wouldn't marry you. Let go. Xian Chunrong was furious. Encountering a crazy woman on New Year's was really bad luck. He stopped caring about whether Tang Hongxing would get hurt and forcefully pulled away. She lost her balance and fell backward, but fortunately, Tang Jianshu and the others arrived just in time to catch her. The team leader had already heard the conversation between the rebellious daughter and Xian Chunrong, and his face was dark with anger. This shameless daughter was ruining the Tang family's reputation. In less than 3 days, the scandal of his daughter being rejected by a man would surely spread throughout the commune. Go home. The team leader grabbed his daughter's collar and slapped her hard. He didn't hold back, and Tang Hongxing fell to the ground, her ear ringing. She could only see the team leader's mouth moving but couldn't hear what he was saying. Jianshu, take this fool back. The team leader shot a fierce glare at the dazed Tang Hongxing and walked over to Xian Chunrong, saying, Sorry for the disturbance today. It won't happen again. I really don't know why she has this misunderstanding. I hardly spoke to her, Xian Chunrong replied helplessly. Honestly, he couldn't even remember what Tang Hongxing looked like. How did he end up in this situation with her? Don't be too angry, team leader. Children have their own fates. As parents, we can't control everything. Today is New Year's Eve. We should be happy. Just take the child home and talk to her properly. The landlord of Xian appeared, speaking slowly. Though he dressed simply, he had a different aura from the others. Sorry for the trouble. The team leader had no desire for small talk. He nodded to the landlord and turned to leave. Tang Hongxing's face was swollen, blood trickled from her mouth, and her ear was still ringing. It was as if she suddenly woke up, staring blankly without saying a word, like a puppet being dragged away by Tang Jianshu. She heard everything Xian Chunrong said. It turned out he really didn't like her. It was all just her wishful thinking. But why did he smile so nicely at her? If Xian Chunrong could hear her thoughts, he would surely feel wronged. He was the landlord's son, raised to smile at everyone. How could he know it would lead to such a mess? Tang Hongxing looked over at Xian Chunrong, but he had already gone inside, never glancing at her. How heartless. Are you still embarrassed? Go home. The team leader shouted sharply, his eyes devoid of warmth. He was completely disappointed in this rebellious daughter. Tang Jianshu was also disappointed in his sister. If she and Xian Chunrong had mutual feelings, he would support her in pursuing love. But he had investigated, and Xian Chunrong and his sister really had no romantic connection. They hardly spoke. He couldn't understand how she thought Xian Chunrong liked her. After Tang Hongxing was taken home, she was locked in her room and didn't even get to eat the New Year's Eve dinner. The team leader and his wife were disheartened and didn't want to deal with her anymore. They just wanted to marry off this troublesome daughter as soon as the new year was over, leaving her fate to herself. Tang Nian and Shen Xiao played in the mountains all day. After having New Year's Eve dinner, they took a group of children to set off fireworks. Shen Xiao brought a big box, and Tang Nian had plenty in her space too. At midnight, Tang Nian went back to sleep, while Shen Xiao stayed at the team leader's house, wanting to avoid any gossip before they were married. The next morning, she was woken up by Old Lady Tang's loud voice. If it weren't New Year's Day, I'd spank you. Where are the firecrackers? Old Lady Tang grabbed Tang Jiojin by the collar with one hand and searched her for firecrackers with the other. Jiojin hung her head, afraid to resist, regretting not hiding them properly so her grandmother wouldn't find out. Next time, if you set off firecrackers again, I'll break your hands. Do you hear me? Old Lady Tang twisted the little girl's ear, scolding fiercely. I hear you. Jiojin cried out in pain, covering her ears. Grandma, you can't hit kids on New Year's Day. If I hit you, your ears will be torn off. Get to work. I see you're just bored. Old Lady Tang raised her hand but didn't bring it down. According to tradition, you can't hit children on New Year's Day, so she held back. She would deal with it tomorrow. A large pile of firecrackers was found on Tang Jiojin, all of them very powerful. Old Lady Tang was furious and scolded Tang Nian, saying, Too much money has gone to your head, buying so many firecrackers. You never make things easy. She was angry at Jiojin because this girl had covered the firecrackers with a glass jar. When the firecrackers exploded, the jar shattered, almost hitting her in the eye. Fortunately, the girl was lucky and didn't get hurt. Stay in the yard and don't go anywhere. Old Lady Tang scolded Jiojin, who had already run to the gate. Reluctantly, she stopped and came back. Jin Feng, keep an eye on her. Old Lady Tang assigned this task to her eldest daughter-in-law, Su Jinfeng, who was pregnant and mostly idle. When Su Jinfeng learned about Jiojin's reckless behavior, she angrily twisted the girl's ear. The first day of the new year was lively for the Tang family. The sock factory and craft factory resumed work on the 8th day of the new year, and the festive atmosphere in the village faded. Shen Xiao returned to the army after the Lantern Festival and wouldn't take any more leave until June, when he would combine it with his wedding leave. After sending Shen Xiao off, Tang Nian got busy, but something significant happened in the village. Tang Hongxing got married. The village chief and his wife had arranged for her to marry a young man from the mountains, who was 8 years older than her. In this era, that made him a late bloomer, but he was a decent man with good looks. He was considered a late bloomer because he had 2 younger siblings to care for. Their parents died early, and as the eldest brother, he raised his siblings and helped them start their own families, which delayed his own marriage. Matchmaker Ma had done her homework. The man was hardworking, had a good temperament, and was skilled as a carpenter. He didn't have to care for his parents-in-law, as his siblings had their own families, and the village chief and his wife were very satisfied with him. But Tang Hongxing was not satisfied. She didn't want to marry into the mountains. It was too hard to leave the mountains, and some people never went out for a whole year, staying up there every day. She didn't want that life, and she didn't want to stay in her hometown. She wanted to see the world. Tang Hongxing heard from Tang Jianshu that Xian Chunrong had found a partner, a girl from the city with a stable job and a good family background. Her third brother told her not to think too much about it. She no longer liked Xian Chunrong, but she wanted to marry a man with a job. Why should Xian Chunrong, with a bad background, be able to marry a city girl while she, Tang Hongxing, had to marry an old man from the mountains? Tang Hongxing went from one extreme to another, just like the former Tang Wujin. She didn't share her thoughts with the village chief and his wife because she knew it wouldn't help. So, she took matters into her own hands and married a coal miner in Jiangxi province. Tang Hongxing had a close friend from Xian village, where she often visited and met Xian Chunrong. This friend had a cousin who married a coal miner in Jiangxi province. She returned home every year for the new year and brought her husband, who was a bit older but earned a good salary of 45 yuan a month. Tang Hongxing heard from her friend that her cousin's family was very poor and struggled to have enough to eat. Since her cousin married the coal miner, their lives improved significantly. Every year, her cousin sent back surplus food stamps and money, sometimes hundreds of pounds of grain, and 10 yuan a month. Tang Hongxing had seen her cousin wearing new clothes and noticed her voice had become much deeper. Tang Hongxing learned that there were many bachelors at her cousin's workplace who couldn't find wives. Her cousin had even wanted to introduce her friend to the coal miner, but her friend refused, not wanting to leave her hometown. So, Tang Hongxing contacted her cousin, expressing her desire to marry a coal miner and asking her to help find a reliable man. Her cousin acted quickly, sending a telegram to an older bachelor she knew, asking him to come and marry her. This bachelor was 12 years older than Tang Hongxing and had worked in the mines for years, making him look older, but he was sincere and brought many gifts, saying he would give all his salary to Tang Hongxing. Determined to get married, Tang Hongxing agreed to the match. On the 16th day of the new year, the bachelor came to meet the village chief and his wife. The village chief and his wife were caught off guard and were so angry that the village chief didn't even let the bachelor inside. He threw the gifts away, firmly opposing the marriage. But Tang Hongxing was determined. She secretly took the household registration book and the village chief's seal and went to the commune to get the marriage certificate. By the time the village chief found out, it was too late. He didn't want to deal with this rebellious daughter anymore and told Tang Hongxing, "Don't come back. Your mother and I will pretend we never had you. Take care of yourself." On the 18th day of the new year, Tang Hongxing left for Jiangxi province with the bachelor, without even holding a wedding banquet. Tang Nian learned of this news several days later. Foolish girl, giving up a job at the sock factory to marry someone so far away. That man is older than your third uncle. I don't understand what Hongxing sees in him. At the dinner table, old lady Tang brought up Tang Hongxing again, unable to comprehend her decision. Maybe she likes that he doesn't bathe. Tang Nian blurted out. What else could she like? Tang Hongxing and Tang Wujin were indeed sisters, with the same stubbornness. Old lady Tang sighed and decided not to mention Tang Hongxing again, believing that a married daughter is like spilled water. However, Tang Hongxing always sought attention, sending a package home every month with food stamps, cloth tickets, or local specialties, perhaps to prove she was doing well. The village chief and his wife never called or wrote to their daughter, pretending she didn't exist. They had no use for those things, as their situation had improved and they didn't need them. 1977 was busy, and time flew by. Soon it was the Dragon Boat Festival, and Tang Nian's birthday was approaching. She told Xin Xiao that after her birthday, they would go get their marriage certificate. But right after the Dragon Boat Festival, Tang Nian received a call from Old Man Zhang. Old Man Zhang had gone to the research institute in the spring and hadn't contacted her since. Minister Niu said he was working on a secret project and couldn't be reached, so Tang Nian didn't inquire further. "Nian girl, do you have time?" Old Man Zhang asked with a smile.
I can make time.
"Is there something you need?" Tang Nian joked, saying that the machine tool factory wouldn't be finished until the end of the year, and both the sock factory and craft factory were running normally, so she still had some free time. "I have some issues that need your help. Can you come over?" Old Man Zhang explained his purpose. "About your secret project?" Tang Nian asked. "Yes, I need an assistant. Time is tight, and the assistant they sent me is not enough. I recommended you to the organization," Zhang Lao said with a smile. "Will I get into trouble if I get involved in your state secrets?" Tang Nian was hesitant. The more she knew, the more danger she faced. No matter how capable she was, she couldn't compete with the state. Zhang Lao laughed on the phone for a long time before saying, "No, I've explained your situation to them. If they agreed, it means you're fine. Don't worry." This secret project involved military technology, and everyone participating had to go through strict checks to ensure there were no issues before joining the research team. "Nian girl, I really need help here. The country is in a tough spot and needs strong military support." Zhang Lao spoke sincerely. After being abroad for so many years, he understood the country's difficulties. A weak nation has no diplomacy, which is exactly what China is facing now. Without a strong defense, China can't stand tall internationally, can't assert itself in diplomatic meetings, and can only endure the arrogance of Western countries. Being backward means getting bullied. The chairman was right. Tang Nian was persuaded. Although she wasn't particularly patriotic, she wanted her country to become stronger. It was too weak now. "Should I come over now?" "Yes, right now. I'll send someone to pick you up." Zhang Lao's happiness was palpable over the phone. Tang Nian couldn't help but smile and said, "The salary better not be low." Even if she was patriotic, she wouldn't work for free. "The starting salary is 120. It's a bit low, but once you achieve results, I'll apply for a raise," Zhang Lao said with a laugh. He knew better than anyone how talented Nian was. Her calculation skills were exceptional. Otherwise, he wouldn't have insisted on having her, a high school student, join the secret project team, despite everyone else opposing it. Zhang Lao also knew many were waiting to see Nian